Hey, what's up? We are live. Starting shit up. Got warm Jason Chicken with me. This is gonna be a good one. Well, we'll see. Oh, John Lovitz is jumping in. Hey, what's up, man? Yo.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. We just actually I literally started. I think like once you popped in here. But shit, man.
Oh,
I've
that's
seen
music.
I've seen the Crystal Skull, man. I've peered into the past. I peered into the time of Archimedes, and it is not good. Yeah, I was telling Warm Jason about this stuff. Oof, really bad, really bad. One of the worst movies I've seen in a long time, and I've seen a lot of bad movies. I pride myself on watching bad movies. This is
What, what are some of the really bad ones that you've seen recently?
recently. Well, I recently I would go back to like stuff that was like She-Hulk. That was really bad. You know, that was a TV show, but that was really bad. This was
Watch
just
that?
like, yeah, I saw that. I saw the whole thing. I'll watch season two
Yeah.
when that comes out. Like, I gotta see that. Yeah, I like this photo too of the three of them just pointing at us, laughing because I bought into this. I actually bought it. That's what it feels like. They're
Yeah,
laughing
you
at me
can
for
kind of see
buying
the
it.
pain in Harrison Ford's eyes.
I don't think he gives a shit. Like, I mean, that's cool for him. I don't.
I just don't
It's
think he
also
wants
this
to
is an
be there
old
doing this
photo.
shit with them. You know?
This is an old photo, man, because he looks like fucking shit in this new movie, and he's got his shirt off, and he's like looks like a corpse. I would
Why
have
would they do that?
never.
And
I don't know. The first scene you see him, he's got his shirt off, and I would have never done that.
yeah,
Like
like what
that.
year do they think this is? This is not like heartthrob, teacher that the like students are looking at. This is like an old grandpa.
Yeah, and I mean the Crystal Skull was 2008, and he didn't look this bad. Like I was noticing, I was like, oh, he looks fucking old. Same with the Marion girl. Like she looked old too. I mean, she's only in one scene. It's a spoiler, but there's not really any spoilers to this movie because it's like it's exactly what you'd expect it to be. It's he goes after an artifact, and that's basically the whole fucking movie.
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
that's all of them.
Kinda. I mean, I mean, the only
When is he?
spoiler.
When is he not doing that? When is that not the plot?
There's only like one spoiler I can think of, but it's like I don't think anyone gives a shit. The only spoiler I can think is the Shia LaBeouf mention of
He's
him.
died. He like died.
They,
Yeah,
they killed
that
him?
they killed him off just by talking about him. Like Indiana Jones is upset because the Shia LaBeouf character, his son, has died in Vietnam, but they don't even
Oh,
bring it. It takes place in the '60s, which was like kind of cool. There's a couple cool scenes. There's five chase scenes in the whole movie, and when you have a chase scene that just goes on forever, it gets boring.
especially when there's no like monkeys and swinging on vines and stuff.
Oh man, I was thinking about like the monkeys. Man, wasn't that bad compared to this. That's a better movie.
Oh,
I
go
would
to the
give that
fucking bar
movie.
now.
I mean, it's bad. I would give that movie a 4 out of 10. I would give this movie like a 3 out of 10.
Okay. Well,
Like I didn't think that was possible, but yeah, it was pretty bad. I was by myself in the theater, completely by myself. I went and saw Guardians. There's a bunch of people. I went and saw the Spider Verse all the same time, premiere night, same time. They all had people. The Spider Verse movie had a lot of people, a lot of ethnic kids, like black and Spanish. I think because of the context of the movie.
that's
But
kind of cool.
yeah, no, actually, I was thinking like I didn't mind it. I was like, that is kind of cool that they have like a character that can represent, like I know
I
that
saw this
sounds awfully
on
woke,
Twitter.
but
A bunch of like black kids in New York in the '70s talking about how much they love Star Wars because of Darth Vader and shit.
yeah, and then like I think Lando, I think is a big part of that, like liking that shit too.
He wasn't in the series yet. This is the first one.
Oh, the first one. Well, I think it was
Right.
just a phenomenon. The first movie really was. But also, the first movie of this is a phenomenon. Raiders of the Lost Ark is fucking great. It's the best movie of the series and doesn't even have Indiana Jones in the title. Like
Yeah, isn't Indiana Jones only like a title now?
it's a title after the first one. Temple of Doom. Indiana Jones Temple of Doom is where it kind of started. and that everyone used to make fun of that movie and say how goofy it was. That looks like fucking Mozart compared to these like last two films.
Is his legal name Indiana or it's a nickname?
Yeah, you know what? That's interesting. I don't know what his first name is. What is his
I don't
first
think
name?
it's Indiana, right? It's like a
I mean, he's
nickname or
Dr.
something.
Jones. He's a professor of like archaeology. That's
Why
his.
is he named Indiana?
Good question.
It's a bad name.
It's kind of cool they made like a nerdy guy a superhero kind of thing. Well, that
Oh,
does
he's
make
Henry.
sense.
Henry
Vision.
Jones. Yeah, he's called Henry often, and I'm crazy about that.
Isn't he like based off of like this one like paleontologist dude?
He is based off of movies from the 1930s. Like, I mean, if you see this movie Gunga Din,
Yeah, it's like
it's
a one.
it
It's the
is
Temple of Doom, like ripped it
it
off
is Temple of
completely.
Doom. Yeah, and I mean, actually, honestly, if you want to watch like a good old movie that's got action, I would say Gunga Din's really good.
I feel like I've seen the movie
1939.
poster. It's like a crocodile and someone like jumping over it. I think.
Yeah, and it's like it
Gunga Din.
really is
Or-
Temple of Doom. Cary Grant is the Indiana Jones character. I think he was gay, but didn't want to be gay. They got some serious. I don't know if they call it blackface. It was Indian face at the time. But yeah, Gunga Din's good. It's if you like, especially the it was well made. It's you could tell like exactly where they got the idea from.
Yeah,
Not this movie.
That's some serious looking brown face.
Yeah, and I'm looking at these reviews. I could tell that there's been some
It's no Soul Man.
There's some fuckery going on here. There's no way this movie is worth a 68 or any of this shit. And then I don't buy that. Anyone saying 80?
Oh,
No,
you know
this
they
movie's
manipulated the shit.
this is like highly, highly manipulated. The top critics give it a 55%. I think that's being nice.
They're bought and paid for.
I would give this like a 50, and then maybe the other one
Well,
like
if you
a
gave it 4 out of
56.
10 stars, then you'd probably put it at 40% or 30% if you gave it 3 stars.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess let me think of the 5-star rating. I'd probably give this one a 1, and then the other one like a 1.5. I guess that's the way to look at it with a 5-star rating. This was bad. I mean, I was just like, the coolest part was having the Gimli guy. I think his name is John Rhys. Is it John Rhys Davies? Is that the guy?
Gimli?
Yeah, the guy who plays Gimli, John Rhys Davies, in the Lord of the Rings movies. He's Sala in Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'll put up a photo here. You'll recognize who I'm talking about.
What's the last movie you walked out of?
Dickie Roberts is the only movie I've walked out
That's
of.
a while ago.
Wait, didn't we walk out of 13 by the dozen or whatever?
Oh,
Yeah, I think so.
Cheaper by the Dozen. But that was
Yeah.
that. I walked out of
there,
Dickie
though.
Roberts after that.
Well, we only saw that though because wasn't like Andrew on a date or something? We just were with him.
No, we used to go to the movie, which is funny. It's like I think this is funny with the box up. We used to just go to the movies because we were like stupid teenagers, and we'd actually pay for this shit.
Yeah, there's something to do.
But we weren't alone. People used to do this.
Well,
People used to just go to the movies
and then walk from the mall to the movie theater.
Yeah, but I mean that was interesting. People actually used to just go to movies because it was fun.
Yeah,
it was a fun thing to do.
It was something to do.
Yeah, I mean, and that was kind of the box office. I think that's why. Also, shit was cheaper then. Back then it was probably like a $5.50 ticket, maybe $6 to go.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. Now it's up to $11 average ticket price.
That's crazy. That actually sounds kind of cheap to me.
What, $11?
Yeah.
I thought about that too. I was like a little surprised when I looked at it because especially how food's so expensive nowadays. Well, that's the thing. If you go get food, it's gonna be $20. So you're gonna spend $22 probably going. If you want to like get like a popcorn and a drink, that's gonna easily be like another $15.
I remember my mom had like a really cheap friend, and she used to make us like sneak in food and tote and shit every time. It sucked.
Yeah, I know that. I have an aunt like that, and I would feel so awkward when you'd hear like the soda pop can pop.
Yeah, it was like cereal in a bag or some crap. I was like, I don't want this shit. I'd rather just not eat anything.
Yeah. Are you guys a candy in a movie kind of guy? I'm not a candy in a movie.
No, I don't really
I know
buy
Dave
anything.
is.
I don't
Dave
like
is definitely that.
I don't like making a bunch of noise trying to eat stuff. I get self-conscious.
Yeah, and it's gotten gross with that, like nachos and hot dogs and shit, and
Well,
pizzas
they
there.
fucking have it to where like people come and deliver shit to you, don't they?
No, some do.
Yeah, like they have it to where you can like order stuff, I
Yeah.
guess, on an app or some shit, and then they come and bring it to you at your seat, I think.
Yeah, a lot of theaters are like that now.
Well, we went to Alamo Draft House, Dave. Remember that?
Which is
That was
pretty
cool.
good.
That was cool. I mean, I think because that had beer and drinks and shit too, and
Dude, it had like
that was a cool
it had
place.
these like
It sounds like
boozy.
Dave and Buster's or something.
It
Yeah,
had,
but like at the movies.
yeah, but dude, it had like boozy milkshakes, which got me
that's right.
fucked. I got like so drunk I couldn't even follow what was going on in the movie.
I can't remember what we saw. I don't think it was.
We saw.
Did we see Midsummer?
No, we saw Us.
Us. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I like lost track of like what was happening because it was like fucking drunk.
That's a good experience though. I support that Alamo Draft House, and I think Nighthawk Cinema does the same thing.
I like those smaller art house ones too.
Yeah, there's a few like that here that like you could get food in.
I think there was one in Princeton and there was the one in Red Bank.
Yeah, the Princeton and Red Bank, both of those were the cooler movie theaters. They actually show Wes Anderson stuff.
Either like before it went to theaters, like major ones, or if it just like the 10 or something where it really there's really not enough interest for that wide of a release.
Yeah, remember like seeing Napoleon Dynamite, like how that was like a trek to like see it and like.
Yeah, I remember we ran like a toll.
Tom ran through the toll.
The fear of the monsters will keep you in a good balance walking along the rail.
Jesus Christ. That's like probably a massive drop down of the.
Oh yeah. I don't think he gives a shit after that motorcycle accident. I think he's gone.
Half his brain.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I remember actually I've seen every Wes Anderson movie in the Princeton movie theater. I thought about it. Every single Wes Anderson movie I've seen there. It was not in major movie theaters. And I was thinking, watching this movie, how I really want to go watch like a lower budget Hollywood movie or an indie movie. It's disgusting when you watch some of these. I saw that movie sucks. I saw it. Yeah, it's
Letter Media. I thought liked
it. Cocaine Bear.
No, they didn't really like it. They kind of saw through it too. It was not good. It wasn't even that funny. It was like a spectacle kind of thing. It was cheap. I think Elizabeth Banks directed it. That's not saying a lot there.
Yeah, she did that shitty Charlie's Angels reboot that was like weird feminist, like I don't know.
Oh, dude, I forget.
Like feminist fucking manifesto thing.
I'm actually surprised you like remember. That's like one of those movies I forgot like existed. I forgot that exists.
Lucy Liu,
Charlie's Angels reboot with
the Charlie's Angels reboot, and then I even like I forgot that Ocean's 13. Like there's an Ocean's 11 movie that's all female. Like some of these movies just like disappear in your cognitive memory.
That shit? I think it's like oh man. Well, and then of course the Ghostbusters one, which is like a just colossal fucking failure.
Oh yeah, that was damn man, that was bad. That was another one that was just bad. And then they made like the incel guy, the villain, which
fucking
is typical.
They like just ruined such a great, memorable franchise that had really not, had it. I mean, I like the second one a little bit more than the first, possibly. I don't know.
Oh wait, what movie?
Ghostbusters.
Oh.
No, I definitely don't like the second one that much. Even as a kid, I didn't really like it. I was like, "What is this? Is different."
It's a little creepy.
Is this Vigo guy?
Yeah.
I like the big river of ooze, but maybe that's just because I was like a little kid.
Yeah, I like that too. It was pretty bad CGI though.
Well, that's like Indiana Jones for me too. Speaking of like as a little kid, I guess Dave, you missed out on this, but as a little kid, I loved like watching Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom, especially Temple of Doom. I know everyone makes fun of that one, but that one was like, I guess maybe more for kids, even though it wasn't because it's dark as shit. It's an Indian death cult, and like little kids are slaves.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
No, it's and then also you got the little Asian kid from Goonies, who's in Everything Everywhere All at Once now. Short Round.
Was he only in that movie?
He's only in that one, and they did a little kid in this new movie who actually probably was the most likable character. The little Middle Eastern kid was the one in this one. He wasn't bad. That's the only thing I could say. It's like he wasn't bad. Not that he was good either, but he wasn't bad.
What did he do?
He was just kind of the tag along character. I don't know.
So he's
She
just,
was
like, cute.
she was like this lady like that. Yeah, the girl that Phoebe, like the main girl in it, had like a little sidekick, and that was the kid. And he would be like like a pickpocket kind of thing. He wasn't bad. I couldn't say anything bad about that kid. He wasn't bad. Everything else was bad. And also, like, let me show this. I like the main villain. I don't know if you know this guy, Mads Mikkelsen. I think he looks like a villain. Do you know this guy, Mads Mikkelsen?
Yeah, he's a villain in one of the James Bond movies, Casino Royale.
Yes. Yep. With the best new James Bond one. Definitely.
Yeah, I like that one. Ava Green's in it.
Yeah, that one's like all around not bad compared to the other ones.
Dude, I don't like any James Bond actually.
They're all.
I don't really either.
I like GoldenEye, but maybe that was more because the video game.
I definitely. Oh, dude, I do not. I remember watching that, trying to watch it at like sleepovers in the '90s, and that was like instant like go to sleep movie for me. I've never got into I like all these franchises and shit. I've never gotten to James Bond.
I think he's lame.
I think so too. It's just not like I think he's
like
boring.
Stupid like one-liners and like he's just like he's fucking lame.
I've just always found it boring. It's like that Mission Impossible first movie is way better than any James Bond movie I've ever seen. Mission Impossible is way better than James Bond in my opinion.
Who directed that? I remember I came across that a while ago and I was surprised.
I want to say isn't it like the dude? It's a really good. Isn't it the guy who did Harry? What's his fucking name? Is it
Brian De Palma?
I think it's Brian De Palma. The first movie.
Yeah, okay.
Palma.
I remember when I saw it, I realized like, wow, okay, shit. No wonder it was like that good.
Yeah, I'm almost
to get.
Yes, it is. The first movie is Brian De Palma, and the second movie is John Woo. Another like good director. There's been good directors alongside the whole thing.
Yeah, John Voight's good in that. I forget who the woman is in the first one.
Yeah, also the whole crew he has together. Yeah, Ving Rhames and the Shaun of the Dead guy. It's a good crew. It's a good.
He wasn't in the movie. First one. He came later on.
Yeah, he came later on. What's his name? But I like that. They're not bad, and I bet you, dude, that's gonna make a shit ton of money. That's coming out in I think a couple weeks.
The new one has Haley Atwell in it. I thought Rebecca Ferguson was.
She's now, I think, the love interest, which is surprisingly aged appropriate.
So,
she's good.
She's good, especially for.
Was that old?
No, and I'm talking Rebecca Ferguson. Rebecca Ferguson. Well, actually, maybe you're right. Maybe Haley Atwell is the. I don't know. I don't know what Tom Cruise is. They got the Asian girl from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Start slouching on set.
Yeah. There's this Asian girl who I think is Icelandic too. She plays Mantis in the Guardians of the Galaxy. I know is in. She's pretty hot out of the makeup too. She's kind of like a hot blonde Asian lady. Rebecca Ferguson, I think, is really hot though, especially for her age.
She's got some big ass too.
Really good.
Yeah, I mean, she's hot in Dune. She's hot in the Doctor Sleep. She's always good.
Game of Thrones ripoff show where she's like nude a bunch. I forget. It's like War of the Roses or something. I think maybe I forget the name of it.
Oh, is it like actually about the English War? That's like an old war. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what Game of Thrones was based on that. But yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is based on the War of the Roses. It's a big inspiration for the whole thing. Actual historic
it's also
stuff.
Probably trying to be Lord of the Rings too at the same time.
Yeah, it's Lord of the Ringsy, but it's also like I think he takes a lot of
Lord of the
historical
Roses doesn't
stories
have
and
any
puts into
dragons and shit like that. It's just people.
yeah. But the one thing that also bothered me in this movie is how every guy in this movie is like fawning over this girl. Like every guy's
I
like
don't get it.
they're showing all these like dudes looking at her, like trying to like hit on her. She is not attractive.
Yeah,
That
she's
was
a dog.
There's no one
Woof,
else
woof.
around.
I mean, this is mean, but I kept thinking of when I was seeing her, I kept thinking of like when Peter was a British guy in Family Guy. Like that nose. She has this
Ugh.
really sharp nose like this.
Yeah.
And that's what I kept thinking of. And then
It's
Dave,
funny
you'll
'cause-
know.
Well, I think like like on average, I think like the girls here are kind of attractive,
I
but
think you're in a different spot though, man. I'm talking England. England might be a little different.
yeah,
Unless also it's like this could be aged, this opinion of these unattractive people. But this lady's unattractive, so I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe
she's very unattractive.
so she's not attractive. I mean, like I was telling to Jason before, but I probably still I wouldn't say no to her. But
I would. I wouldn't.
you would
wanna-
say no to her? But I don't think she's like super attractive or anything. Capitalism's not working for this movie, I'll say that. I watched it and I was realizing like what the fuck is this made for? Who is this made for? I couldn't point out someone who actually would want to see this. This won't
Not
do
for
well.
kids.
They spent $350 million making the movie plus $150 million marketing it. So we're looking at what is that? Is that 600 million?
It's
Right
for
there?
it's for nostalgia horrors. You know.
It
People who
doesn't
go
even
and
fit
see it
that.
No matter
It
what
do-
the fuck it is, just because it's Indiana Jones. They don't care if it's good or bad.
I don't think they want to see like an old Indiana Jones carrying around his coloscopy bag. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
They make that joke.
I made that joke.
Oh,
Like it's I don't know, man. He looks really old. He's very unbelievable. The first 20 minutes aren't bad. The first 20 minutes there's a de-aged CG Harrison Ford on a train and it's this whole Nazi story and it wasn't bad. It wasn't good either. But that part of it is tolerable, but it's so weird looking at someone that you could tell is CG. It's like Jason was talking about with The Irishman with De
Yeah.
Niro. It looks your brain
Or how
knows
about
something's
in
wrong.
Fucking Superman when they took his mustache off, it looks so bad.
Same with that. Like your brain knows something's up.
You just couldn't get the guy to fucking shave that shit.
No, he didn't want to shave it because he wanted to be in another movie. He didn't give a shit about
Yeah, the
Superman.
Man from Uncle or some
Like,
crap. It was a Guy Ritchie
that didn't
film.
do well either. Yeah, and even actually I was reading about he almost got the part over Daniel Craig for Superman, or for James Bond, but they thought he was just too young.
Well, and now it sounds like he's going to be the next one.
Probably he might be aged out now. I think it was stupid. I think I would have went for someone young so that you
I
can
don't know, Pierce
do
Brosnan
10
was
years
old as
worth of
shit in
movies.
those movies. He wasn't, and Daniel Craig was old.
Yeah, but I think
How
they
he
want
aged
someone
out.
a little older.
He's
I think
aging
they want
in.
someone that's late 30s. That's the look they're looking for James Bond.
yeah.
Because he's supposed to be like a grizzled agent, you know? He's not supposed to be like somebody.
He's a
just
veteran.
Started up.
He-
Right, yeah.
He's supposed to be
He's
like
got,
he
like,
knows what he's
mixed-
doing. Yeah.
He's got post-traumatic stress, all kinds of shit that he doesn't want to deal with.
Yeah,
Or
he's
can't
not
really
supposed to
accept
be
it.
like a young person learning. You know, like
Yeah, that's. I mean, they are pretty boring movies, but it's
They're
not like
boring.
they're not. I mean, they're still like decent watches, though. You know, like the one where yeah, they're pretty forgettable actually.
I mean, I can't remember. I've seen some of them. The only thing I remember,
sucked.
dude, the only thing I remember in all those movies, like I'm thinking back at everyone I've seen, is there's a part in Casino Royale where he's injected with something and then he has to go to his car and have like another injection so he doesn't have a heart attack. That's the only thing I remember in all those movies.
Usually,
Remember
I can remember who the Bond girl was. Like, I remember Halle Berry was one of them, and then this blonde girl in this like ice place. You know, like they're in this like ice palace thing. Like, and then Denise Richards was one of them. And then Ava Green.
Yeah.
After that, I kind of lost track.
Oh yeah, so I wanted to promote my Indiana Jones Crystal Skull cut. You could search City of God cut on
Are you
Reddit, and
gonna do
you'll
one
pop
for
that
this
up.
new movie and just it'll be like 30 minutes long?
Ah man, I kind of wonder. Well, first off, this movie's 2.5 hours, by the way. Of
Were there any
shit.
people in the theater that looked like they were big fans of Fleabag and they were just there for her?
I was by myself in the theater. This was very like I was by myself in the theater. I can pull up my tweet here. Let me pull this up. I was by myself, but check out search City of God's cut on Reddit, and you'll kind of find my my cut there. And also, I watched my cut before I went and saw this, and I was like, you know what, this movie's not that bad. The Crystal Skull. When I edited it, watch the first 20 minutes of Crystal Skull, the regular movie, then watch my cut, and you'll be like, okay, this isn't that bad. Not that bad.
Did you leave
But
the monkeys in?
was that? No, I took that whole fucking scene out.
You
I was
bastard,
actually
man.
hold on. Let's look at this here. I actually, you know, the whole 50s scene in the beginning. There's this 50s teen scene. I took that out. I see all these cuts. This is what I took out.
I think a lot of the Indiana Jones is filmed in Glasgow, actually.
I think it probably was, man. It probably was. They film a lot over there. I think because it's cheaper.
Yeah, much cheaper.
No, they definitely do. I've heard that. I mean, I know. Where's Belfast? Is that Ireland?
Yeah, that's Northern Ireland. Yeah.
That's where they do all the Game of Thrones stuff is done in Belfast, and the House of the Dragon stuff too. That's their. But yeah, man, this was the theater right here. I was by myself when the movie started.
What time was it though?
Well, it was 9:45. It was the late showing, but I went and saw.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect?
No. Well, I'll explain it. I went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy at the same exact time, the Thursday premiere, and it was maybe 20 people.
Oh, that's
Then
a
I went and
premiere. Jesus Christ.
This is a premiere too. This is the premiere day.
You
And
should have
I mean, this is
showed
the premiere day.
both of them to compare and contrast.
And then I went and saw Across the Spider-Verse, and that theater was pretty much filled because you know, it's kind of a little bit of an urban area, but like a lot of blacks and Spanish like that movie, and they did enjoy it, and which is cool for whatever reason. You know, at least they have someone.
Did you get to see Soul Plane in theaters? How was that experience?
I didn't see that in theaters. I've never seen Soul Plane. I've only seen clips of it on Comedy Central.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, but this was empty at 9:45. This was empty.
I guarantee you'd rather see Soul Plane than Indiana Jones if you had a choice.
Oh yeah, I would way rather seen that. I would have way.
What's Soul Plane?
It's with Kevin Hart, Snoop Dogg.
Way better time.
I forget who else is in that shit.
It's like a comedy on a plane.
So many talented people in it. Monique.
It's kind of like Airplane, but really black.
Yeah, it's like Airplane, definitely. It's like a BET.
Oh, by the way,
it's like a BET produced film, I think.
By the way, R.I.P. Alan Arkin today. Did you hear that? Alan Arkin died.
No.
Yeah, Alan Arkin's dead, man.
No more
Dead today.
runs.
Yeah. Also, let me see. Also, Draws from WWE died today. I got a photo here with me with him.
On command.
Yeah, that was. It's funny you remember that. That was the character. Here's me with him. He's dead. He died today. He got paralyzed and then died. You know,
in the ring.
He got a Kane shirt on. Cool.
Yeah, no, he got paralyzed from a power bomb or something, and then he did die later.
Do you still have that shirt? I bet it's worth some money.
I sold that shirt on eBay. It actually sold for $100.
What the fuck, man?
So that's a pretty good sell for that.
Yeah, I gotta say, wrestling merch seems to do pretty well. A lot of the rookie cards people sell for a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Especially like Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, and Andre the Giant do real well.
Oh yeah, and I do feel bad for this guy
because he was The Rock sell for a ton also.
This guy is a former football player. He played for the Eagles, Jets, and Broncos. He was like a practice squad guy.
Yeah, that's a ton of like I'd say like a lot of wrestlers
Oh
are
yeah,
just failed football players. Like in
well, it used to be. Now they're like my height, like 5'9". They're not like athletes like they used to. It used to be like you were a big athlete and then you'd go become a wrestler because you had nothing
yeah,
else
but you
to
also
do.
have like the high flyers like Rey Mysterio. Those are not big guys.
That's like the one. You know what I mean? There is
No, I
one,
thought they
and
always
it's
have
Rey
like one or two
Mysterio.
of them.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much him. Now it's
Oh yeah,
like
I'm
they're
seeing the
all.
Mission Impossible trailer now. Looks it's okay. The
Yeah,
training
actually, you know
shit.
what? I've heard good things. I mean, I think actually I've heard from people that have seen it. Film Threat, that's a good YouTube channel. They've seen it. They said it was really good. I think it's gonna. I heard it's like pretty good, and
Who
you know
directed
it's
it?
gonna make money. Just because of the Top Gun runoff, people are gonna go see it because of that.
Do you know who directed it?
I don't. I think it's the same guy who's done. I think it's McQuarrie is the name of the guy. He's done the last like 3 or 4 Mission Impossible movies. So I think it's the same guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me pull up this artifact. So we're talking about this. Because this kind of comes up in the Indiana Jones movie. The artifacts, the out of place artifacts. This is a big part of it. I'll just go to it here. But the anti-cathera mechanism is a big part of the story, even though they didn't do it good and it sucks.
What's
It's
it supposed to
definitely part of it.
do in Indiana Jones?
In Indiana Jones is a time travel device. So basically, the movie is they have half of the device. It's like broken in half, and so the most of the movie is just them trying to find the other half. And then once they find the other half, then they use it for time travel. And there's a Nazi guy who wants to use it for time travel to go back to like right every wrong with the Nazis, so the Nazis can take over. That's basically like the plot of the whole movie.
So, what is the connection between the Fleabag bitch and Indy? Like, why are they working together?
So when he found the anti-cathera mechanism, it was around like World War II, and he was with her father. So her father was like he went crazy studying the anti-cathera. That's like basically it. And basically it's a time machine device. That's pretty much it. And then in the movie, when they find Archimedes, they say Archimedes made this, which I don't think there's any truth to that. Even though Archimedes was like a great Greek inventor. They say that they find his tomb and he's got like a modern day watch on, that kind of thing. And that's kind of where this whole plot of out of place artifacts, where I was like, I want to talk about out of place artifacts because there is a few. We know of you've heard of the Baghdad Battery, and
Yeah, of course.
That one's weird. It's 2,000 years old and it has an electrical charge still. So that one is strange.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
makes
cool.
sense.
Though it's
Almost
like
a
I kind of
conductor or like a conduit or something.
yeah, it's like I don't know if they knew what the fuck it was, but they figured they probably like figured something out and then they like tested it and they got a shock. That's almost the vibe I get from that. Although maybe we think back of the ancients and think they're stupider than they were and they actually knew. They probably did. I don't know.
I don't
There
think they're
is
stupid. I mean, there's a reason why they had civilizations. You
well,
can't
they're
be
depicted
dumb
like
and
that.
be civil. Like have communities that last.
Yeah, I mean, and then also there's this Egyptian light. Have you heard about the Egyptian light bulb?
Yep.
Dave? Anything with that?
Yeah.
I've seen people debunk this by saying it's
I
just
remember it being
snake.
like ancient aliens and stuff.
Yeah, but it does look. It's like one of those things where does it just look like us to a light bulb? Because we know what that is. Which I kind of lean towards that.
Yeah, me too.
And Eric Von Daniken's just like kind of like a jackass.
Is that the really tan guy with the blowout?
No, that's Tsoukalos, George Tsoukalos. This is that's like his mentor kind of.
Did you ever see this? The Action Bronson, a bunch of people just get high and watch that show.
Yeah, I remember he had some kind of a whole show just about that, right?
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining.
Was that on Vice?
Yeah, I think it was. Well, because he had another show on Vice where he would travel and eat food.
Yeah. And then I saw this, the Great Wall of Texas. They found like an old wall, which is Dave, I'm sure by you, by the way, in Scotland, there's a lot of old hedges and walls. That's like a big
Yeah.
thing, like these hedges and shit. They've been there for longer than people think.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I know.
it is weird.
I know about the Texas one.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. It's like, we're taught in school that Columbus discovered fucking America, which is first off is just absurd. Because
how can you discover something that's already been colonized?
yeah, how can you discover something where there's already people?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's funny. Like, oh yeah, no, we discovered this.
Well, I guess you can once you wipe them all out with like SAR blankets or whatever.
It was like discovered for the white man.
They were like trading mirrors for states and shit.
Yeah, like beads and stuff.
Yeah, they're giving like a charm bracelet for Texas or something.
Yeah. It was kind of weird. And let's see this next one here. A 1.8 billion year old nuclear reactor. I've heard of people talking about that the ancients had knowledge of this nuclear stuff. Especially when you read I think it's what is it? It's an Indian thing, the Bhagavad
Gita. Yeah.
Yeah. And even Oppenheimer. No, you're thinking of the 70s rock band. But even Oppenheimer references his Destroyer of Gods quote from the Bhagavad Gita, right?
Are you gonna see that movie? And then Christopher Nolan. I know you're a big Nolan head.
I'm not gonna see that one. I won't see that one. Although I kind of, it's supposed to be 3 hours.
I'm honestly, I think that Batman movie is one of the best films ever made, regardless of genre.
Yeah. Dave, you saw the new Batman, right? Didn't you see the new Batman?
Yeah.
How was that? It's supposed to be like more. It's not even like an action movie. It's supposed to be more like just a film noir, like detective thing.
I don't know. It wasn't that good. It was kind of boring, and he was just kind of like really mopey.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that his kind of deal though? What's his name? The Twilight guy.
Yeah.
I kind of. I mean, I liked him in The Lighthouse. He did a good job in that.
Really good Lighthouse.
I mean, The Northman was great too. Oh, this one's weird. The seafaring map where you see Antarctica, where they really appear. You've heard of this, the Pierre Reese map.
Yeah.
This one comes up a lot. I mean, I think there's something to this. Like, I really think the powers that we're going to talk about the elites throughout time or even now. I think they know things that we don't know, and especially back then.
For sure.
I think they knew. I think they knew of the Americas. I think they knew of, what we call as Americas. I think they knew of a landmass. It was like when they decided to go. And even our Antarctica here is kind of weird.
Well, I mean, if you follow any flat Earth, there's supposed to be there's supposed to be like so many more continents that we just don't know about.
Yeah, I mean that would be crazy too. If there is just a wall. I mean, I think regardless of anything going on with flat Earth or round Earth, I think it's very weird that we have a treaty, the Alaskan or the Antarctic Treaty that has, I think it's 53 countries now.
Yeah.
That are like involved in it. That they like, why do they need to be involved in that? It's like that doesn't really make sense. Something's there. Yeah, something is there. I personally think there's a hole to the inner Earth there. That's my belief. I don't believe in flat Earth. I think I've seen the curvature of Earth just being in a plane. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm a Earth shape agnostic, probably round.
I mean, I think it's also looking at stars and other things that seem round. I think it's just safe to say everything's probably round. But yeah, I mean, I can't say I know.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think like maybe like part of the problem in general is like we live in a world where we think like everything's figured out, sort of.
Yeah, and everyone's kind of safe to assume exactly. Like everyone knows they've been fed the same thing and they believe exactly what they've been fed. And that also is part of the problem too, because if that is true, there's people that take it too far. You know, because no one wants to believe anything the government says, they go too far off the deep end.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand why they are, because we've been lied to a lot, but I still think it's gone too far. That's the black pill, right?
Yeah, I think so.
This one's interesting. I just also kind of think I've always thought about this, like in my past, like just thinking about it. I think people in the past, there could have been like one guy who's just been so fucking smart and he figured this out and he made like one prototype, like this 2,000-year-old earthquake detector. You know, like I could see that happening. Someone who's just been a
Yeah.
genius and actually figured something out.
Yeah, of course.
You know, it never really gets popular because it's like, how could anything get popular? There's nothing that could get popular back then. There's no internet. There's no newspaper, you know? Oh, yeah, and this, the 1,500-year-old pipes. I've heard a lot of things about these pipes. I think they are naturally made. Have you heard of this before?
No.
Yeah, they find these things in Earth that feel like they're man-made. They look like pipes, but it seems like they might be just part of the Earth. But they look like pipes that go down into the Earth. That's what I think this is. I've heard of this before. Now, the Antikythera mechanism is pretty crazy. This is also an example of, I think there was just like one or two guys that were just so fucking smart, like way too smart for their own time.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this one before, Dave?
No.
So this is in Indiana Jones, which is bullshit, but it is a very it's basically the first computer that was ever made. And it was made during the Greek times.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is, because it's like they could calculate. It was an ancient computer where they can actually. It was technically a quote computer, where they can calculate the position of the sun, planet, moons, and they even had like the Olympics were part of it. It was basically like a calendar that would kind of work as like a clock and a dial, and it even was able to like take into account the shape of the Earth being, you know, elongated rather than a complete circle. Like, it was incredibly intelligent for the time. Like, it really is one of these things that is out of time, that doesn't make sense. I feel like there is just someone who could have figured it out.
Well, I mean, the Greeks, they figured out so many things. You know that they came up with the concept of zero?
Really? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, in the Indiana Jones movie, they have the same thing, the Antikythera, and then they use it at the end. And the Nazi guy. Oh well, this is spoilers. So I could just put this up. I don't think anyone cares. But the Nazi guy uses it to go back in time, but he ends up going back to the Roman siege of the Greeks. And so you see this ancient Roman war. It was really fucking stupid. Like,
Why?
and then I don't know. Good question. Why? It was really dumb. And then Harrison Ford talks to Archimedes. It was really dumb. That was really bad. Oh yeah, and then there's a drill bit in a coal. I've heard of these things.
Yeah, me too.
Also, I mean, I don't know if it's on the list, but have you heard of mummies that have had tobacco in them and weed in them? Stuff that's from North America.
Yep.
You know, traditionally tobacco. I mean, maybe it wasn't though. Maybe we don't know. Tobacco is usually from South America, as far as we know. And a couple of mummies have had it in their tomb, which is fucking weird.
Yeah,
But-
because it means that there's definitely some sort of cross-Atlantic travel.
I just don't doubt that one bit. It's, you know, don't you think someone would be able to send out a huge fucking ship and just kind of make it, and then they make it their way back? You know, like, I think it would happen, personally.
Yeah, me too.
You know, there's even talk of, like, I think it's old Irish sailors that it might have traversed back and forth. Like, they didn't exactly know it was another. I think they might have thought could have been like Viking territory, but it was probably like Nova Scotia that they could have been landing on, like upper North America.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got these spears. I've seen these spears in Mexico. I've seen them come up in Mexican stuff too, but also in South Africa. There's these big spheres that have shown up. You ever heard about these?
No, like, so, like, what's the man-made or what's the natural explanation for them?
The natural explanation for them is that there are probably meteorites that crashed here a really long time ago. That's why they have this carbon dating of 2.8 billion years. And then people probably at ancients probably sculpted them to be round. Which I don't doubt. They probably saw this fucking old rock thing they never fucking seen before and then did it. Could be the case, right?
Yeah,
The Iron Pillar of Delhi. I've never heard of this one.
me either.
Oh, okay. This is it's pretty much 100% iron, and it's 1,500 years old, which means it's outside of the Iron Age. That's weird. Basically, to make iron, you need manganese and sulfur together during the heating process, which is like what we've basically like. We couldn't figure that out. Like once we figured that out, that's what the Iron Age was. So the fact that they had that happen early is weird, but it could have been an asteroid that was already iron and they made it. That is an explanation for that. You can find iron replicants in asteroids.
Yeah, I thought iron is like typically found in asteroids in general.
Yeah, but it does, like, to make iron, you need manganese and sulfur at the right temperature. That's like what made our age. Like when we figured out to add sulfur to like that kind of thing is what we figured out how to make certain swords and all that shit. The Viking sword dating back to 8,000 to 1,000 AD. Also, it's crazy how when you think about the AD times with what is that? Is that Jesus's death right there?
Well, AD is
Basically,
in the year
right?
of the Lord, Anno Domini. So I think that's like his birth year.
So we're only like 2,000 years post that, right?
Yeah.
It's not that long.
No, not at all.
Like when you think about it, it's not like that many. It's not that long. It's 20 age. Like I mean, I guess 100 is a long time to put a person, but it's basically like 20 ages, right?
Yeah.
It's not that big. It's not that long ago from like the death of Christ. Okay, this is a 100 million old hammer found in Texas. It's weird. Shows you how long I think people have been on North America. To me, that's not weird, but I think if you're going to look back at, Native American history and all that stuff, I think people could find it weird.
Yeah.
Prehistory worksite. We've seen a lot of stuff with France as far as cavemen. That's mostly where the cavemen.
Yeah, the Cro-Magnon comes from France.
Yeah, and
France.
even Werner Herzog has a really good documentary about the caves of the art, like the art paintings in France. That's a really good documentary.
What's that called?
It is called Cave of Forgotten Dreams.
Doesn't
Good
he have
one to
another
watch.
one about technology?
It's crazy.
Where he interviews Elon Musk and asks him to let him go into space.
I don't know if I've seen that, but I could see it. I could see it. Did you hear the new THC, Dave?
Which one?
I think it was about climate stuff.
No, not yet.
Oh, but it was good because there was a documentary I didn't even know existed. There's a Michael Moore documentary that's kind of denying climate change stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Good.
It's been like completely swiped under the rug. Like the guy who's such like a liberal dude, he kind of exposed them for that bullshit.
Nice, because I think climate change is such bullshit.
I mean, this is crazy too. There's a 3 million. This could be crazy. There's evidence of a 3 million year old bridge from India to Sri Lanka. Like very far range here.
Well, like a
Sri Lanka,
suspension bridge?
I mean, something. I mean, there could have been at that point. It might have not been flooded. The ocean could have been lower. There could have been a spot where they could actually go and do it, and then maybe to build it.
Do you think Atlantis is real?
I personally don't think so. What do you think, Dave?
That's a really tough one.
I think it's such a metaphor. I think it's such a metaphorical story that's like a morality tale. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I do think that there are these lost ancient civilizations that were
Yes,
like
I do agree.
so maybe it's not exactly Atlantis, but I think that they're like
It's a
Holy
half
Crap.
truth. I agree with
Yeah,
that.
Well, do you think of like instead of them living underwater, it was just like a civilization that was flooded and then became underwater, and
Well, it
then
was not supposed to be
just saw
underwater.
stuff.
It was an intelligent civilization, which, by the way, back then that could maybe mean just maybe they had agriculture, or maybe they had aqueducts that were like they're not intelligent like space age like we think like a lot of people think of. You know, they could have
Like
been
Nubo
intelligent
Jets
for
or
the
whatever. Yeah.
time. Yeah. But they would have been above ground and then something happened. But it's almost like a Sodom and Gomorrah tale where it's like they got, too smart or too sinful and then their like land got destroyed. You know what I mean? It's like almost like a morality tale.
yeah,
But I do think Dave's right where or Jason's right where there could have been a culture that seeded other cultures and it's a reference to that. Like an ancient culture that seeded other cultures. Especially when you think of these land bridges and the world could have been different,
Wasn't the
Pangea shit.
Ottoman Empire pretty advanced?
The Ottoman Empire was pretty advanced, especially for getting horses and like cavalry. They're like the first like empire that had cavalry. They have
That
like
was the
archers and
Bronze
they're
cavalry.
Age.
a bit late. Wait, the Ottomans?
Pretty much, yeah.
No, I thought that the Ottomans are a bit later.
Yeah, you know what? No, yeah, no, I'm totally wrong. I'm thinking of like the Syrian Empire,
Yeah,
Assyrians,
yes,
which later became Ottoman Empire only fell, I think, in like the 1914s. That
yeah,
lasted a long
exactly.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm thinking of like way before that, kind of like pre-Mongolian, and then
yeah,
Mongolian became like the horse people, the kind of the same shit. Like the Syrians started that shit.
The,
You know,
the Mongolians are why the Great Wall exists, right?
I think so. I guess that's the lore. I mean, I know.
Because you think about it, once you have the wall and they're riding around houses, horses, you can just have archers pick them off all day.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do?
I mean, I know Babylonians go really far back, and then Assyrians go really far back, and then the Greeks well. I guess then the Egyptians are on the different side, but then the Greeks kind of beat the Assyrians, and then I think was it the Turkish people that kind of beat the Greeks eventually, or no? Was it? It's the people from 300. What are them?
Spartans.
No, the other side. The Persians. The Persians beat the Greeks. It was kind of like that was kind of the world back then. That was the basis of civilization. But as far as we know, I think
Do
it
you
could
think
just be our
Nicolas
recorded
Cage is
history.
bald? Because I'm watching this National Treasure movie. And his hair looks really fucking weird.
Who?
Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah. He always uses like wigs and shit. He's been using that
Oh,
since
okay.
the late 90s. Yeah. Number 2 here, the 500,000-year-old spark plug. That's kind of interesting.
By the way,
Not a
they're
spark.
making a Face Off reboot. Do you see that?
No, that's a weird one to do.
I'm all for it.
Oh, this one, by the way, this goes to Atlantis. The wall, quote wall that's near the Bahamas. It's just technically like a stone structure. I've heard Graham Hancock
yeah,
talk about this.
yeah.
I'm on the fence on this. A lot of people think it's a natural formation, but it looks like it could be a wall or like was it like kind of like a dock for boats back then? It's the Bimini and even Edgar Casey, the famous sleeping psychic,
Yeah, he
predicted.
was all about Atlantis.
I mean, that's a weird connection to this that he predicted that Atlantis would be in the Bahamas, and then they had this weird wall pop up around the 60s when he said it would. So that's like strange for sure. Edgar Casey's an interesting person to look into, especially with his medical stuff. He had medical things that turned out to be right. So that's a weird one. He had remedies that no one thought of that actually do work. So there is some truth to him in like a sense. What do you guys think about that?
I remember you bringing up Edgar Casey like a long time ago, but I I don't know much about him other than like you said that he's like a.
Well, he was like supposed to be very simple in his like waking life.
The sleeping prophet, man. That's how I've heard of him. Have you heard of that term?
Yeah, like he could put a book under his like pillow and then glean everything from the book without actually like opening it up.
Yeah, and I even remember this is a friend of what we're talking about. Mike, his dad had a knee injury, like a really bad knee injury, and he used all these teachings from Edgar Casey, which I think was like really simple homeopathic stuff, like apple cider vinegar and drinking this certain things, and that would actually like heal his knee. And I think he's still like, I mean, he could be like in his 60s, but he still like runs every day. So there's some truth to things that he had. It's weird. But haven't you guys seen? Have you seen Fleabag, Dave, at all?
No, I've seen some pieces of it. I did not like it.
Yeah,
Have you seen
heard good things.
We were talking about that like new Lois Lane actress. Have you seen that show where she's like a stand-up comedian in the 50s or some shit?
Is that the Marvelous Miss Maisel?
Yeah,
have you seen
that's
that?
it. Mm-hmm.
Now I'll say she is good looking, and you can
she's
see,
not bad.
you can go on Mr. Skin and see her tits there, so you can see Lois Lane's tits. By the way,
yeah, she's not bad. She's kind of not like.
I'd say she's pretty good. The Superman choice is a little weird. The guy kind of looks like a wet noodle.
Who is it?
I can't even pronounce this guy's name. I don't know who the fuck it is. He's kind of like an unknown, which I'm not like really against. It's kind of better.
That level of franchise, you would think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but what are you gonna do? I think I think he's young that's not a bad choice because like, what if this series goes on for like 10 years? Maybe he's 20 now. He'll be 30 something when he is older.
I feel like Superman's had a really hard time finding good leads. But then, like, you look at Batman, and they seem to do pretty well. I don't know why that is. Well, I guess I don't know. Christopher Reeve probably would have did more movies if, not for his accident.
All right, guys, I gotta go. Good night, yo.
Right,
Peace
man,
out.
Later, dude. I had to take a piss. But yeah, I totally get you. Yeah.
Night.
Talking about all the Antikythera stuff got you worn out, huh?
No, it's just late.
What time's it there? Well, check out some Mogwai, man. They're Glasgow, right, Dave? Or Leland? Or Lovitz, rather?
It's 2:00.
Yeah, shit. All right, yeah. It's still early here in the States, man.
Late.
That's like it's crazy how the time difference with that. I mean, I can't stay up too late anymore. I don't know about you.
Just depends. Like if it's during the week, I'm usually pretty exhausted already.
I mean, we used to stay up really late. Do you remember that?
Well, when I was wowing, I wasn't like. I don't think I would. For some of it, I wasn't working, but I would stay up until like 4 or 5 and play with people from like Australia and New Zealand. There was this one guy who was Jamaican, who was a boomkin that we used to group a lot with. I forget his name. Because I was an elemental shaman and they were a boomkin, so we both would buff each other. so it was like really beneficial pairing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. We would. I mean, I think a lot of times when we would do stuff, it would be, even if it was a couple of
Shoro,
us.
I remember his name.
Yeah.
Is there Shoro?
Yeah, there would be stuff that would lend themselves to each other. You'd want to get a group that works with what you're doing.
Yeah, but at the same time, you need a certain mix because on boss fights, there's ones that are weak to physical damage, and there's ones that are weak to specials. You can't completely stack one or the other.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I remember there were some groups that were good for just like rogues would be good for certain things because you needed like melee, like
Or a kick.
DPS. Yeah, you needed a kick.
You need to. There's certain fights where you need to disrupt spells, or you're fucked. Like it just ends because they kill you
Oh yeah.
with it.
Oh yeah. So I wanted to talk about the box office stuff. This is the numbers. This is the statistics of it. They only made a $7.2 million Thursday box office, which is pretty fucking bad. For Indiana Jones compared
What do you
to
think Barbie will make?
I think Barbie's gonna like be a big hit. I think Barbie's gonna make a shit ton of money. Actually, I think Barbie will do like if we're looking here, Guardians of the Galaxy did 17 million on that Thursday, compared to 7 million for Indiana Jones. Ant-Man did that. Cross Spider-Verse did that, and I saw it in person. There was a big difference just in the theater I went to. So I think Barbie is going to be in this same boat where it makes like
Shazam
maybe
2 didn't
20.
do very
Might do better
good.
than these. I think people want to see it because I think a lot of girls want to see it from our timeline. I think it's got a good response to it.
What do you think the Flash would have did if he hadn't had all this weird other shit going on?
I think maybe a little better. I don't know. I think
15?
well, look at Shazam, or even like Shazam. I don't know. I don't even know. I think this is like accurate, even if he didn't have a shit going on. I think maybe 12. Like not much better. Still under all these Marvel things. I don't think it was just. I also, especially with the news of how they're taking over DC to be something different. It's like people who actually care about this shit like know that there's not going to be any Flash, so it's like why even go see this movie? That's kind of how I mean that's how I feel about Indiana Jones. It's like there is nothing to go see this for. It's not a good movie. It doesn't bring the nostalgia stuff. It doesn't offer anything where it's going forward. I just don't get it. I don't know who this was made for. I don't know what they were thinking because this won't make money. I could have told you if you just told me the script. This won't make money. Like, no one wants to see an old guy fucking jump around on motorcycles. It just doesn't. No one wants that.
Or some ugly British woman.
Well, that is part of it. I don't want to blame it on one person, but if you got someone who was like, let's just say this was a Scarlett Johansson, someone who was a big
Or
star,
Haley Atwell, if you want a British person.
or Haley Atwell, or even what's their name from The Northman and the witch with the big eyes, Anna Taylor-Joy. You know what I mean? Like someone like that, like maybe someone that's
She's
more
too young for this part.
Not really. I mean, I think you kind of want to get someone who's like good looking and famous. Even like Florence Pugh or something. Like that would have worked better.
She's
Another
British,
one,
isn't she?
if you want to take it to the American side, Jessica Lawrence or Jennifer Lawrence. Like Jennifer Lawrence would have been fine in this. Would have been great. People would actually went and seen it.
She's kind of busy doing that other movie.
I guess I've actually heard good things about that too.
Yeah, I mean, it looked okay. It looked sort of like some kind of super bad type of thing.
Yeah, it's like a raunchy comedy, but I've heard,
I mean, she's looking really good in it.
like from the surface, it feels like it's gonna be like her making fun of this guy, kind of bullshit. But it really turns out, I've heard like the reviews of this movie where this guy's just kind of like an average 19-year-old, and she feels bad about herself for being like a huge slut, stupid shit. So it's different than you think. I think it has more of a depth to it. Like a lot of the old movies, like Porky's had anti-Semitism in it, and Fast Times had the abortion stuff to it. Like a lot of these older teen movies still had this like grounded theme that was dramatic and
Last American Virgin
interesting.
too.
Last
Had
American
the
Virgin.
same-
That's a good point. Yep.
The movie's
I-
so depressing and sad. I just feel so bad for so many of the characters in it. It's just like it's not a fun watch.
Yeah, like I hear that this movie actually is more interesting than its surface level stuff, which sounds kind of cool.
Yeah,
You know?
I kind of want to check it out.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean,
gonna
this
see
is
it in theaters or anything, but
yeah.
I'll wait.
Yeah, this is a movie I will watch once I can watch it on streaming and shit. You know, like, and I feel bad because it's like it probably is a movie you should go see in theaters, just because you know something like that I'm down with, and none of these movies are gonna get made if you don't go see them. But shit, I mean, come on. I mean, watching this Indiana Jones movie really
True,
made me
if
want to like.
people
I
don't
want to see
support it,
something good.
It's gonna fail and then eventually go away. You know?
Yep, and then just won't be in theaters anymore ever, which is
Yeah.
kind of. But yeah, this Indiana Jones, I guarantee you, will do worse than some of these ones that are already out, like probably Fast and the Furious, or even the Spider-Verse movie, which is still making money. This is just it was abysmal. I really have to say it's abysmal, and
That Fast and the Furious franchise is fucking ridiculous. I
Yeah,
can't
it's
believe how many
shit.
fucking movies they've made at this point.
it's
They're up
shit,
to
man.
like 11 or some shit.
Yeah, and they're not good. Like that's the thing is like people are
But everyone
They're
knows
not good,
that,
man.
and they still go and see them. They're almost like superheroes at this fucking point.
they're like superheroes on a different vibe because at least it has cars to it. You know what I mean? It's like I think they're for people who they don't want to think they're watching a superhero movie, but they are. You know what I
But
mean?
It's so confusing because they went from like drag racers to now every one of them feels like they're like you know, special ops.
Yeah, it's like a spy. Yeah,
They were
exactly.
literally just people driving cars illegally on roads.
Yeah.
It's not like they have all this training and stuff. It's just like you give them a gun and all of a sudden they're like insane, you know?
Right. Yeah. Oh, and the box office with this Indiana Jones movie is looking bad. Only looking at like a 60 million domestic movie, which is pretty bad.
Good
60
thing they know how
million.
many stock.
I mean, yeah, I mean, this is gonna be Disney's 9th movie that totally fails. And that's just like that's crazy to think of that you put out 9 movies and none of them made money. Crystal Skull made what did it make domestic? It made wow. It made 300 million domestic. We're looking at like a 60. Well, hold on. That was weekend. Let me look at this again. Domestically, it made about $100 million the first weekend. And this is going to look at like $60 million. And this only made about 800 million. And the break even point for this Indiana Jones movie is 800 million. So it's not looking good. Oh God, this is the kid. This is the kid in that movie, by the way. Let me pull this up. Like the kid who I said was all right. He's not a kid anymore, I guess. Maybe they just shot this so long ago. This is what he looks like now. He looks like a little fucking kid in the movie. It's like looks like he's 10 years old.
What does Jason Lipnicki look like now?
You want to see that? That might be a scary thing right there. Ugh. I think he's like overcompensating kind of thing. Let me see. Let me find like an embarrassing picture of him.
I mean, do you have to search that hard?
Yeah, I mean he's like bulked up. It's kind of weird. He looks bulked
Okay, he's
up.
like a bodybuilder now.
Yeah, I think he's like overcompensating kind of thing. But yeah, he looks like bulked up.
Oh, can you imagine how much shit he probably got for being the like little retarded kid in whatever that movie was?
Yeah, I think that's probably what this is. You know, like he
Of
bulked
course.
up because he's getting made fun of his whole life.
So much shit given to him.
Yeah, I mean he looks. He looks like a regular person. He doesn't look weird. You would think he'd look weirder.
You know what? Let's look up what's the Terminator kid.
Oh, Edward Furlong.
Yeah, let's look at Edward Furlong instead. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, that'll look bad. That'll be a good choice.
Eddie, if you know him.
There you go. He looks terrible. He looks like he's got onset diabetes at 32. Oh man.
Yeah. Was he doing heroin?
You know what? I think a little bit, but you know what sucks? Yeah, he's got addiction issues. Sucks. I mean, I liked him when he was maybe he was in his 20s. I liked Detroit Rock City. I thought he was kind of good at that character.
No, he's good in a lot of stuff. I always thought he was, but at the same time, I always thought he was like weird and fucked up the entire time.
Yeah.
You know?
No, he had that vibe to him. Like when seeing
He
him
felt
being like this, I'm not
Like, he
surprised.
felt like fucking abused or some shit. Like every time I would see him in a film, it just felt like the expressions on his face, like he's just been through a lot of shit. You know, like he was it. Like he probably wasn't in Radio Flyer, but he lived it. You know, that movie's so fucking awful.
It's depressing.
Like, that is one of the worst movies for kids ever made. I don't mean because it's bad. It's just like awful to experience. Like it is a horrible, weird fucking film.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's sad, man. This one was like they don't make that. Like that was a kids movie. That was like depressing. Like they don't make that anymore.
And do you remember that movie where this girl had like a goose plane and a bunch of geese were like
Fly Away Home. Fly Away Home.
Yeah. Like what's the plot? Like the geese like didn't know how to
Well, I think there is some kind of like domestic issue
like,
too.
There were a bunch of ducklings that had no mother or something, and then she
but I think the underlying issue,
too, you know.
But I think the underlying issue is she lives with what's his name? The Daniels guy from Dumb and Dumber.
Jeff Daniels.
What's his name? Yeah, she lives with Jeff Daniels, and I think the mom might have left. So it's almost kind of meta with the whole geese story, where it's like she's playing the part of the mother because she has no mother. You know, it is. Yeah. It's like depressing in that a couple levels there.
Died?
I have no clue if she died or left. I kind of feel like died might be more accurate.
More impactful.
Kind of have that. If I'm gonna pick one, I'd pick that with that.
If you say they left, then there's the whole like, well, will they come back thing, you know?
Yeah,
but if they're dead, then it's like that plot point is not going to be resurfacing at all.
Yeah, I kind of think you're going to go with death if you're going to do that. If you're going to do that
Who
story.
Who played that? Was that the My Girl?
No, that was what's her name from X-Men? Anna Paquin.
Oh, okay.
That was Anna Paquin. That was a very early Anna Paquin part. And she's always been attractive. I don't think you ever see her anymore.
She's okay.
She's probably like
she's got like a Strahan gap.
Yeah, she's like 40 now, so that ain't working in Hollywood.
She'd had
to deal with that.
That was a pretty big franchise for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't been rebooted for all like the world we live in today.
Give it time.
Give it
time.
3 months. They'll reboot that. But yeah. Disney has lost $890 million on the last 8 films, so I think this will take it up past $1 billion with Indiana Jones because this won't make money. I saw it. This won't make money.
I mean, we really should probably think about buying more stock.
Oh yeah, no. Now's the time. I think
when do you think they're going to stop?
Yes, now's the time. Once Indiana Jones publicly bombs, like in public, now's the time to buy stock. Totally.
Well, no, not if they're going to keep sinking it. I need to see the upcoming releases planned.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. But I think, long-term shit.
Woke fest and just trying to make money again, you know?
Long-term investment, I think Disney is a good investment. Long-term, I think they will do pretty well. Maybe not so much now, but long-term, yes. So it depends when you want to buy. Because if you're going to buy now, it's going to be buying low.
Yeah, I heard people hated that Buzz Lightyear fucking movie. I just don't know why.
Well, yeah, it was about because it wasn't really about Buzz Lightyear. It was about this astronaut. It was like ridiculous. It's like no one cares about that. They'd rather be about the toy. It was about the character that inspired the toy, and no one liked it. So it's like it was stupid.
You saw that?
No, I didn't see it, but it's like I understand why it doesn't like no one liked it. You know, because it's like people like Buzz Lightyear. Make a Buzz Lightyear spin-off movie. You know, like make another Toy Story movie. People will go see that. But what they did was like, I don't know, just stupid. Everything Pixar has done lately just seems very stupid. Even that Elemental movie that's out now just feels like a repurposed what is it? The one with Amy Poehler. The feelings one, the one about the feelings and psychology. I forget what it
Inside
was
Out
called.
or something.
Yeah, like Inside Out. Like it just feels like a repurposed Inside Out or like a
People like that movie,
repurposed Toy
though.
Story. They really just go off of like, let's take something like toys, like Toy Story, like an inanimate
Or Up.
object, or Up, and give it feelings. That's basically their big. I think they did with Cars, toys. They've
I
done
think
the same
Up did
bullshit.
pretty well financially.
Yeah, Up. I mean, Up wasn't bad either. That wasn't a bad movie.
It's pretty depressing too. You know, like his
Very sad
wife
intro.
dies right in the beginning, and then the rest of the movie is just him and this fat Asian Boy Scout.
Yeah, a very sad intro. And actually, speaking of Elemental, the character that inspired the fat Asian kid is the director of Elemental. I was reading an interview about that. He is like some Asian guy. That like the Elemental story is kind of like a West Side Story. I mean, it just looks terrible too. That's part of it, but it's basically about like a fire and water people that mix and make like are doing a couple. So it's like it's very much obviously about interracial couples. You know, so you want to put the woke agenda in there. But the guy is Asian, and so I guess he was inspired. He inspired that little Asian fat kid. I do like Up though. I liked it. I think that guy's
What
dead.
is this site that you're looking at movies, but all the most popular shit is all political stuff? Like it's all.
Oh, this is Breitbart, dude. This is Breitbart. This is some straight up. I think Steve Bannon owns this company. It's like a super fucking
that guy was in prison.
right wing website, but they have funny articles. It's almost like New York Post. New York Post is very right wing too, but they have funny titles and they'll make fun of stuff. They'll kind of troll things. They're kind of like the trolls of the internet of like the news media. Is like New York Post and Breitbart. So I kind of like them for that. But yeah, all this shit is anti-Biden stuff. You know, pro-Trump stuff. You're gonna see a lot of that. But their entertainment news is kind of funny. I feel like they really they go after the woke media pretty well. Oh, here you go. Disney stock. This is even right now as we speak. Disney stock downgraded amid concerns of streaming growth being stalled and the weak theme park attendance. That is something you wouldn't think, but Universal is really cutting into Disney's park stuff. I think if I would rather go to Universal if I was a kid. I'd rather see like the Harry Potter shit. And like, what are you gonna go see at Disney? Disney's just not like they don't put out fun things anymore, you know. And also, even their TV, like I don't think they know how to make a TV show. I just don't think it's fun anymore. The fun's been gone for a bit.
I mean, it's weird because they're known for like kid stuff, yet they're trying to cater to all these adult markets constantly.
Yeah, I almost think they should make their streaming platform just about kids. You know, like they could just
that's why they have
market
that,
to that.
Disney XD stuff, so it's like separate.
Oh, that's done now though. They don't have that channel anymore. That's if you could. There's a really good channel. I think it's Yestercades or Yester something, Yesterworld, where they talk about the Disney's effort into all their streaming platforms and TV and Disney XD. And I don't think there's no Disney Channel on TV anymore. There's none of this. It's all just Disney Plus, and I don't think it's really working. They've had a really weird time trying to venture into the TV market. You could even go back to like even go back to where like VHS started. They had a very strange time getting into it. It's weird. You would think they'd be able to handle it better. But you know what? I think a lot of people prop up Disney, and I don't think they've really done that many things that are original since Walt Disney's been around. That was kind of the end of the company back in like the 60s. He was very innovative, and when he died, that was pretty much the end. And they've been like riding off the coattails of a guy who's been dead for, what is this, 2023? He's been dead for about 50 years. Almost 50 years. And even like animation, look at how much animation's changed. I mean, back then, those were like works of art, just having some of the movies they put out. Works of art, so much talent that went into it. They would actually do things in America. They wouldn't outsource to Korea and China. It's just it's a weird time that we live in. We don't have a lot of artistic integrity, and I think Disney it used to be very artistic integrity based, and now it's like the opposite. Now it's just all for that buck. Cash that buck. And even this is my next topic here. Disney Star Wars is cutting off ties with George Lucas, which is not new. But they've made it very clear they want nothing to do with anything George Lucas did. This is all going to be the new stuff. The George Lucas stuff has to die. Has to be done. And even recently, Kathleen Kennedy has said that the new films will move past the Star Wars of George Lucas visions, introducing new characters with something fresh.
Oh yeah,
How well has that worked?
Imagine what that means.
It means like we want to like just this is now ours, and we don't want to relate it to anyone. That's basically what they're trying to do. But look at Galaxy's Edge. Look at all their Disney parks. No one wants to go see Galaxy's Edge because it has nothing to do with the movies people actually like. No one cares about these Rey movies. Kathleen Kennedy, I guess, does, is one person. This is like someone that needs to be fired. And people have been saying this for like 10 years. You know, like you always hear it. When's the last Disney movie that you've seen? I'm actually curious of that.
In theaters or just in general?
Just in general.
I
Like,
don't
have
know.
you
It's
seen
hard-
any of the
it's hard to
Marvel
even
movies?
fucking know what they own anymore.
Well, they own everything, so Marvel. Have you seen any of the new Marvel things? Like, did you see
What are
Endgame
the last
or
couple releases?
Eternals?
No,
Doctor Strange 2,
no.
Ant-Man.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 maybe.
I saw. Well, is that the one with what's his name? Not Kurt Douglas. Kurt Russell.
Michael Douglas, right? Michael Douglas?
No, you're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, I'm thinking of
The guy
Ant-Man.
who plays Chris Pine's father.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. Yeah, you saw that one. Then, dude, the new one was good. I have to say, I still new one wasn't bad. I like the guy who plays the Rocket. Who's the guy who plays Rocket? What's his name?
Bradley
That's
Cooper.
not a. Yeah, he's not bad at the character.
Yeah, fuck him. He's an Eagles fan.
Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that at all. What Giants fans do you have to be proud of? What fucking Lawrence Taylor who's gonna do coke with fucking crackheads?
Yeah, he threw somebody out a window.
Yeah, is there any famous Giants fans? I don't think there really are. I don't think there really are.
What are you talking about? The fucking Maras.
No, yeah, but they're owners, but like I'm talking fans.
Kate Mara,
like,
by the way, I think she's so much better than her sister.
what's
Rooney.
the sister? Rooney Mara?
Yeah.
Is that the one
From
from the
Rooney
tattoo?
is girl with the dragon tattoo. Kate Mara is has red hair.
No. Rooney Mara, she's very good, attractive.
Rooney Mara, she's okay.
No. Kate Mara, the one from The Martian.
Yeah, Kate Mara is much better.
Yeah, she's very attractive. You know, but you know what? She's very like typically attractive. There's nothing like super special about it though either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like she's really stacked or anything, and her face is all that great, but
Yeah.
she's just kind of cute. Yeah.
I mean, you can go on Instagram and see models that are 10 times better, but how come they're not putting those in movies? How about why isn't it?
They probably can barely read.
Yeah, it could be that their reading skills might be low. But yeah, they're done with George Lucas, and even there's all this talk. George Lucas was on set during the Mandalorian, and apparently he was giving the director a hard time. He's probably going in there and being like, you know, I'm not so.
Why is my name going on in the movie?
Yeah,
There's
you know,
no
I
Jar
came
Jar
in here
Binks.
and,
And
you know,
there's no
I
drag
thought,
racing either. I want a speedster from the 50s.
yeah, I came in here and I thought, you know, the salad bar isn't as good as I thought. You know, like I kind of wanted to have a good salad. You know, like I went out with David Lynch and got a good salad. You ever heard that story about David Lynch talking
Why
about
do you
George
want to
Lucas?
see another Han Solo movie?
Have you ever heard? Have you heard about David Lynch talking about meeting with George Lucas? Have you ever heard that story?
Yeah, he said that he kept talking about Ewoks and stuff, and it made his brain hurt, and he didn't want to deal with it anymore. Like it was just painful for him to experience.
I think I have to put this on. I have to put this. Let me play this clip. This is brilliant.
David
clip.
Lynch is a fucking weirdo, and but I love it. You know, he's a
total weirdo. Total weirdo. And also, even a podcast I really like.
And he wants to fuck Laura Dern so bad if he hasn't already.
I think he did. I think he's with her. He's with her. Yeah, he has.
It's
But
good.
I would have rather fucked what's her name? Audrey Horne from Twin Peaks. I forget her real name, but really good looking in that. And also Madchen and Amick in Shelley from Twin Peaks is really fucking hot. She's in that Cat People movie with us. She's fucking gorgeous.
I know what you're talking about. She's a brunette. It was her in
No, she's like blonde. She's like dirty blonde. She's good.
I thought she was
But here's David Lynch meeting George Lucas.
I was asked by George to come up to see him and talk to him about directing, which would be the third Star Wars. And I had next door to zero
Can you make the volume a little
interest.
higher?
But I always admired George, so I thought I should go up and at least visit with him. And it was incredible. I had to go to this building in LA first and get a special credit card, and I had to get special keys, and a letter came and a map. And I flew up and I came into an office, and there was George. And he talked with me for a little bit, and then he said, I want to show you something. Now, right about in this time, I started getting a little bit of a headache. So he took me upstairs, and he showed me these things called Wookiees. And now this headache is getting stronger. And he showed me many animals and different things. Then he took me for a ride in his
Many
Ferrari
animals.
for a lunch. And George is kind of short, so his seat was way back, and he was almost laying down in the car. We were flying through this little town up in Northern California. We went to a restaurant. Not that I don't like salad, but that's all they had was salad. Then I got a really almost like a migraine headache. And I could hardly wait to get to home. And even before I got home, I kind of crawled into a phone booth and phoned my agent. I said, there's no way I can do this. And he said, you just lost, I don't know how many millions of dollars, but it's okay.
Yeah. Although it's, you know what? I can never see David Lynch doing a Star Wars. I don't even know why he would talk to him about it, really. Probably just wanted to be friendly with him. He's George Lucas.
Or just entertain it, just to see what he would do.
Cool guy,
Probably
man.
just
He's a cool guy,
curious.
George Lucas. I mean, look at this. I'll pull up the thumbnail here. Look at this hairline. He's got a crazy hairline, but that jawline. He compromised the hairline for the jawline. You know,
He's got a gullet.
that's what I mean. There's no jawline there.
He's
Good
got
hairline.
a turkey neck.
Oh yeah, he's got that. He looks like Dexter from the prequels in Star Wars.
See,
If you
Steven's
know
smart
Star
enough to
Wars,
know you put on a collared shirt and cover that thing up a little bit.
yeah, you button it all up to the beard. But yeah, here's another good one. This is a good oldie here. Check this out.
Okay, what we have here is Organic Girl's new 50-50 spring mix and baby spinach blend. They came out with this a few months ago, and I've been dying to try it. This is the first package I've gotten a hold of. Now, the thing with the 50-50 mix is you used to have to buy like a whole bag of the spring mix and a whole bag of the baby spinach, and you'd have to mix them together. But then you would have too much salad. So, the perfect mix. And as you can see, it has been washed 3 times. So this should be some very clean salad. This package is still
Yeah, I'm sure they watched it 3 times.
flat going across the side, so you know that your salad has not been tampered with. Let's open up the package now. I'm going to use a fork to unhinge the tag, and now we can use the tabs at the top of the package to open the salad. Oh god! Oh god! Oh, hold on. Okay, now today I have here Bright Farms. Their new local spinach blend, which means it's locally grown. You're not getting this imported from somewhere like Mexico, where I'm not even sure if they make spinach there. They have an advertisement for their next product on the box, which is some good marketing. I always want to sell that product. That next product you have coming out is very important. It's grown in Rochelle, Illinois, which, well, quite frankly, that's not very local, as I live in San Francisco. Expiration date is 9/23/16, so that should be pretty fresh. This particular packaging, a lot of times they have the tamper-proof seal, a label that goes around the edge. Not this particular variety, though, so I cannot be sure that this spinach does not have anthrax. Let's try and open the package now. Ranch Light.
We see where this is going. He's a big salad fan, as you can see there. It's a good red letter media video. Rich Evans is a genius. They just did a video on Temple of Doom, so I think they put it out because of the new Indiana Jones premiere. I hope they don't have to see it. God forsake anyone that's got to go see that movie.
I mean, you're forsaking yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I had to see it, so. Although it's like I got skin in the game, man.
You didn't have to.
No, I got skin in the game, man. I made a whole edit about Crystal Skull. I made a whole edit. I spent so much time making it. I had to see.
Legally obligated.
I was legally obligated, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
My attorney
you have the
said
terms and conditions we can show on screen.
my attorney and my financial advisor, who handles a lot of my Disney stock, said to go see this movie. You know, if you have a financial advisor, they're going to tell you right now to buy Disney stock. It's going to be low. After this weekend of Indiana Jones, it's going to fucking tank. It's going to be a Bud Light, Dylan Mulvaney style tank going on here. Who is this Dylan Mulvaney? She's pretty hot, right? Let me play some clips.
I'm retarded?
Gotta love some retards. Wait, were you saying the same thing? That we had the same thought? Do you think?
I gotta get some. I gotta get some water.
Oh, okay. You gotta get some water for that. That's the kind of clip that makes you want to get the water. I know what you mean. That's that kind of clip. Here's Harrison Ford.
Are you looking forward to watching a Han Solo movie as a fan?
Not really. I love the honest truth by Harrison Ford here. I think he
goes together. No.
Holy shit!
You know, I was realizing most of my clips here are retarded people. You know, I got some actual Down syndrome people here. I got a couple Down syndrome people. I need to have more Down syndrome clips. Because you know what? God gave us clowns, and those clowns are Down syndrome types. Then we got
fear. F-E-A-R. F-E-A-R. That stands for false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
False evidence appearing real.
Fear. F-E-A-R.
F-E-R.
That stands for false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
Romance, do you know what it stands for? It stands for relying on magnificent and necessary compatible energy. Relationship. R-E-L-A-T-I-O-N-S-H-I-P. That stands for really exciting love affair. Turns into nightmare. Sobriety hangs in peril.
This is the last Grossman. Who is this?
This is Flaming Dragon!
Oh, okay. Flaming Dragon. Fuckface. First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face!
Whew. Tom Cruise, man. National treasure right there. He's got all the Xenu ghosts or aliens exit out of him, and that's why he's making so much money right now. Once Xenu knows your success, he gives that to you, and that's what Tom Cruise is. Lena Remney can burn in hell, and she will, because she's gone against the church. Anyone who's gone against the church, this is where we go full Scientology. I mean, long live L. Ron Hubbard, great soul. I follow Dianetics every day of my life. I don't know about you. Do you follow Dianetics?
I don't know what that is.
Diagnostics? Scientology. You do you follow Xenu, the great ghost alien of the sky?
I mean, I've seen Battlefield Earth, so I'm probably ahead of most people.
Oh yeah, you're in on it then. Yeah. If you've seen Battlefield Earth and you sat through the whole thing, you're basically a Scientologist now.
I just had it like it was like on in the background with no sound. I didn't really actively watch it.
Well, have you seen Saturday Night Fever?
Yeah, that movie's
okay. Yeah. You're a Scientologist.
I always thought of it as like this happy-go-lucky dance film, but it's like the one guy has an abortion, the other.
No, it is a happy-go-lucky. It's like it is a happy-go-lucky dance.
Gang raped in a car, like, and then there's all this gang violence and murder. Like that is not a fun fucking movie. It's like really
the last 30 it is a fun movie until the last, I think, like 45 minutes of the movie, and then it's like a complete downhill depressing vibe, and then it ends on the most depressing vibe possible.
And I couldn't tell if he slipped or he wanted to kill himself. I'm not.
No, he wanted to kill himself. That's the vibe I got always, that he wanted to kill himself. Like he didn't care, he didn't care either way. That's like maybe was like 50-50, but the 50 that was not trying to live went out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the vibe I always got.
That's a fucked up film, though. It's
a good film, man. Jeopardy question.
Like, growing up, I always thought of it as like this kind of just empty dance movie, but it's very dark, and you know the whole like subplot of the brother failed as a priest and is back home and stuff. You know.
Yeah, it was brief. I mean, but like brief enough where you still got the idea of who this character was. Brief in the beginning, and then but you still understood who he was. He was an Italian Christian character from Brooklyn. In the 70s. So, John Travolta was a recent Final Jeopardy question. They talked about in 1978 who was the actor who was attached to movies that had the best-selling album of 1978 soundtracks, and you had John Travolta with Saturday Night Fever and Grease. Grease was one of the best-selling soundtracks of 1978.
Yeah, I wish Jeopardy would find a host that would stick. I don't like them constantly going back from the.
Oh, I hate Maya Bialik. I fucking hate her.
The
I like Ken Jennings a lot.
Big Bang Theory girl, and then the
Yes.
guy with the lisp who won a bunch of times.
Ken Jennings I like a lot. They should just stick with him permanently. He's great. I really like Ken Jennings.
He's okay. I wish that they could find somebody who.
I like him better than Alex Trebek. I'm gonna say that. I like him way better.
But also very dry. I don't need like some Ryan Seacrest taking over Wheel of Fortune type of shit.
No, I think honestly it's Ken. If you had Ken Jennings the whole time, you would everyone would ease into liking him as the best host. That's really what it is. But they mix up this Maya Bialik girl and fucks everything up. But here's a fun fact: he is a Mormon. He is a John Smith follower. He's from Utah. He went to BYU. He traveled around the world as a missionary. Little known fact. I think not a lot of people know that about him. Super Mormon.
Oh, okay.
BYU, man. That's my team. That's my college team.
Yeah, I remember we
I made money off them.
BYU.
It was the guy from the Jets.
Made some money off of them because of that.
The guy from the Jets made me money. Sam something.
Sam
Darnold?
No, Zach Wilson.
No. Zach Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we made some money off of BYU because of him.
Yeah, no, I did. I won a couple times on BYU. They're
he was
one of my
crazy
favorite.
In college. He like ran so fucking much, and then he just stopped when he got to the pros.
Well, that's like that Bryce Young dude. I don't know, man. I think he's gonna be good. I have a feeling he's gonna be good. Maybe I'm just totally off. I think he's the next guy.
Quarterbacks. There's only a couple of them that have succeeded. Drew Brees, who's like a genius.
It's a different era, man. It's a different era.
Wilson.
Here's my evidence. Everyone used to say that about hockey, where it would be like, oh, if you're short, no. But now look at hockey. It doesn't matter about your size; it's about your speed. And I think that's kind of starting to happen with football. It's about speed. It's about agility.
Yeah, Patrick King work out though. That was
really well. Trade. Well, I mean, just overall, it worked out.
I don't mean his career. Yeah, his career was good, other than coming on somebody's back. But
it came out that he had a hip injury the whole year, so he's rehabbing a hip injury.
He found dried semen on someone's stuff, and he still wormed his way out of that shit. That's when you're too big to fail. It's like Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger, I think, had the same exact type of case happen.
Yeah. No, I think he did. Yeah.
Big Ben.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad, though. Because you'd think at that level of fame and, it wouldn't be an issue to get a girl, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
That's the weird thing.
I think the stream crashed.
I think it's just like you. Oh, no, everything's still up. Maybe it was your stuff on your side. I'm looking at it. Everything's still fine. Maybe it's just that you look like Shrek. You know what I mean? Is that the issue here? If you look too much like Shrek, it might not work out. Although, I don't know. How did Shaq did all right for himself. He kind of looks like a black Shrek, right?
I'm not touching that.
Hold on though. Am I right though? It doesn't
big thumb with eyes.
Doesn't like Shaq kind of look like a black Shrek? Am I wrong?
Do you remember this school project we had where we took stockings and made puppets out of them with like googly eyes?
Semi. I think we had a couple of those school projects.
Looked like the thing I made out of that. And they always freak me out. Like I have a weird connection to that school project.
I remember, it's funny thinking of this climate change bullshit. I remember I had to do a video about acid rain. Do you ever hear about acid rain anymore? I don't think you hear about that anymore at all. You never hear about acid rain.
That's more like in California because they have.
No, I think it's just it doesn't exist anymore. In the 80s, they would all talk about acid rain. Early 90s, now just no one talks about that. There's no acid rain. It's bullshit.
What is acid rain? It's like pollution coming down.
It's basically like because our atmosphere is so polluted that when it rains, that it would have like bad microbial stuff to it. It's bullshit. It's like climate change today. It's complete bullshit. I think
It
they
sounds
think we.
good.
Yes, it sounds scary, but I think we don't have any effect on the climate or Earth. I think we like to think we do. I think we like to think we're more important than we are as far as a species. And no, I don't think the Earth revolves around us. I think we revolve around the Earth. You know, like that's kind of what's happening. Same thing with all our electrical stuff, and I don't think it gives a shit if we use fossil fuels. I don't think it matters. It sucks that we as a public get blamed for all this climate change. It's the fucking companies or China or factories. Like we're the least of the blame. You know, like Leonardo DiCaprio and his fucking yachts and private planes. He's more to blame, and even him, he's not. You know, like it's the fucking factories that are producing all these, pollution. That's probably more to blame. Although you don't hear about smog. Remember smog? You don't hear about that anymore. I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch is out of work.
Oh, we need a clip for that, man. We got to get.
I should have that on hand.
Yeah,
I should have that on hand. Like, yeah, you're right. You're right on that.
That should be like in our staple of Busey clips, and
I think we've made fun of that since we saw that. You know, like that's
to
like
me, it seemed like
so
Peter Jackson
easy.
Did not need him to do that. He just wanted to watch him crawl around on the floor and like make fun of him to the cast and crew and stuff. You know?
Yeah, you think he was just making
watching
fun
the
of him.
dailies of Benjamin Cumberbucket in his fucking light bulb suit, screaming into like the screaming dialogue into like an empty warehouse.
with like little dots on
little
his face
foam
here.
pits underneath, so he doesn't hurt his delicate elbows. Actors are
It
so
sucks
fragile.
too because
they really need to come with like instructions and a little manual.
Oh man. Those Hobbit movies are not good.
No, they're not. They're a slog. They're
they're
far off from Rings of Power. They're really not that far off.
No, they're better than Rings of Power. Like that's
no, they're better,
close.
but they're not that far off. Like they're really they're a step above. But
no, it's just I mean if you've read Tolkien stuff, even just reading Tolkien, you know, there's a big step from The Hobbit to Lord of the Rings. It's like a 12-foot step. You know, it's like they're not even close. So even just the content that they chose to use just wouldn't have worked. You know what I mean by that? Like The Hobbit just is not the gravitas of Lord of the Rings.
Who's like like do we really need to superimpose this guy's face onto a dragon? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
Just
I know
make
it's a fucking
dragon.
animated thing. Yeah. Well, think about like what they would have done in the past.
Think, oh, I'm not gonna see this unless Benjamin Cumberbucket looks like the dragon.
Yeah, you need like a camo guy filming him here, walking around. He's in camo pants. It's like, do you really need this? Like, just fucking animate it like you did in the 70s with the Raskin and Bask Hobbit movie, which is still better than The Hobbit. Way better. The thing that offended me the most with The Hobbit is like they made these dwarfs not look like dwarfs. Like some of them just look like
people. Yeah,
they look like hot little people. They look like celebrity people. Yeah.
By the way, she looks so different now. She shaved all her hair off for the Ant-Man 2 movie.
Yeah, and I think she's like anti-vaccine.
She was that, or it was like part of the character. I don't know how that works.
But she was a stout anti-vax. I know. Jason Chicken's gone, but he's a stout anti-vaxxer. He's a stout anti-vaxxer.
I mean, early on, before I got it, he told me that somebody he worked with died from getting it. So I was like, all right, I'm not fucking doing this. And then
no, I regret. Like I've been vaxxed twice
for certain jobs without having it. So it's like I had to fucking do it whether I wanted to or not. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I've been vaxxed
that's some
twice.
1984 fucking shit right there, where the government is like forcing you to have something just to get a job.
Yeah, I've been vaxxed twice, and I really regret it. I regret it. I was duped. I feel duped. You know, it
I
sucks
just
because
feel
I feel duped.
5-10 years from now, half the population is gonna die off because they got vaxxed. But I feel like
don't
that's what all the
know.
conspiracy theorists think is gonna happen.
See, like, I don't buy that either, though. It's like
No,
I
it's
kind of
it's fun to talk about because there's a lot of heart conditions connected to it.
there are
that-
issues. There are issues with every
But that
vaccine.
can be like connected to so many other things that
Right.
people are dealing with. You know,
See,
so when you're that
my
ambiguous, you can like completely parlay it into like this is the reason, even though it could have been so many different, just extraneous things a person's lived through or intake.
Yeah, no, my take on the whole thing is that I don't think, like, I think I look at it. I know this is the wrong take to take because you got to pick one side or the other, but I think the people who were anti-vax were wrong. I don't think the vaccine was that bad, and then the people who were like, "Oh, COVID's so fucking bad," I think they were wrong too. I think like COVID's not that bad.
But if
It's
the
kind of
vaccine doesn't
cold.
really do anything and has possible repercussions and side effects, then
Right.
it is bad. Like, what's the fucking
no,
point?
like-
If it doesn't help
right.
anything, but
Well, it
has
didn't help anything.
drawbacks, then it's not good. Like, there's no point into taking it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think,
Like,
the
I don't wanna
vaccine was
fucking blood
good, and
clot
I don't.
a year from
I don't
now
think
just because
it's
I
both
tried to
things.
get
I
a
don't
job
think
at some place when I didn't need to even have it.
right, but now it doesn't matter. But at the time, it did. Yeah, at the time, it totally did. But
Yeah,
I just
like,
don't think.
I couldn't apply at certain places without
Right,
having
that was
it.
like a prerequisite.
It said on like the
Like, be
Indeed
vaccinated.
or whatever page I was posting to, if you're not vaccinated, you're not eligible for employment. And then it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, just move on.
No, I remember we would go visit clients at the time, my company, and they would be like, "Oh yeah, we're all vaccinated, so we can go visit you." And it was like, I was thinking, like, I'm not vaccinated. I'm like, I think I'm like 3 boosters behind, so I don't know, but I'll never get that shit again. I feel like
you were actually
pressured.
fucked up. My cousin like denounced me for getting it. And I was like, bro,
Di Sabato?
Yeah, I was like, bro, you haven't worked a legit job
Di Sabato?
your entire fucking life, and you're telling me,
Wait. Di Sabato was against it?
yeah,
That's
He
surprising
denounced me
because
for
he's
getting
very
the
liberal.
vaccine. And I was like, you have no idea what it's like getting a job because you haven't worked an actual job your entire fucking life. Like, selling knives door to door is not a job.
Right. No, it's not. But like, shit, he's very liberal. He's like, he lived in California. He's always come off as liberal. Like, I'm just a little surprised at that.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I
he's
remember.
a hard conspiracy.
Yeah, he's a big conspiracy.
Too.
So I remember, it's funny. I remember this was still when I was buying weed and in the
We
weed
should get him
culture
on the
and
stream actually.
smoking drugs.
Making it working out.
I would actually love to get this spot on. He'd be fun. He'd be fun to talk to. I would have no problem with that.
Find a lady boy to marry.
I'd like to hear him talk about that. Honestly, I'm sure he's had some good. Honestly, speaking of non-lady boys, I've heard that just Thailand
is looking for
fucking,
a mail order bride right now.
No, but I think like Thailand is like legit like prostitute central, non-lady boy. So I'm sure you can get that too.
It's lady boy central and it's child like trafficking.
No, I think it's just like hot Asian girl that are poor too. Like that's a big part of it.
No, I think he's into some chicks with dicks. I think he's trying to have 2 outs just in case the one doesn't work.
Well, maybe. Hey, it's fucking 2022, man. We got Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Dylan Mulvaney is supporting Bud Light, so
you
gotta have
hopefully
options.
we all have gills and we can start fucking gills too.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, maybe one day, right?
I forget what movie I was watching where somebody like was doing weird gill stuff sexually.
Well, you would think you could maybe insert something there, right?
Oh, what was that fish fucking movie that won an Oscar? The Shape of Water or something with water?
Yeah, The Shape of Water.
Yeah.
Guillermo was trying to fuck a little
Yeah, it's like
monster.
Nazis trying to fuck
yeah.
fish.
Well, they're trying to fuck the Black Lagoon, like the Black Lagoon creature, the creature of the Black Lagoon.
Create a super fish race.
Do you think your cousin would fuck the Black Lagoon creature?
I think he'd fuck anything that moved if it talked to him.
Do you think Thailand has creatures of the Black Lagoon? There could be Black Lagoon creatures over there.
I mean,
who knows?
if I were thinking of a place to go to find it, it's high on the list. That Amsterdam, what's some like red light district fucking shit. Someplace in Germany probably that's like war torn, savage, fucked up people that are selling their bodies for money.
Yeah,
maybe the Soviet Union's got some fish prostitutes with like maybe they don't have gills, but they have like some kind of weird adaptation that can pass off for it, you know, like a birth defect.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, there's a lot of things going on in this flat Earth, but I don't trust the round Earth people here. You know, there's these round Earthers.
Kyrie Irving, by the way, just got a 3-year deal from the Mavericks in free agency today.
Really? He's going to Dallas?
Well, no, he was already in Dallas. He's
staying there.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, where'd that little guy go? The guy from Phoenix, the little short. Was he like? Is he like 4'11"? He's like a pygmy.
I don't know who you're talking about. Chris
How
Paul?
do they not pygmy? Do they have pygmies in the NBA now? You know, how come I can't? Why can't I turn on?
Guy was Nate Robinson.
Hold on.
Nate Robinson was really short, but
why can't I turn on ESPN and see an all pygmy league?
Oh,
I want to see a pygmy league.
You probably don't know about this, but ESPN just fired half the people that work there. Susie Colbert, do you remember her?
Well, it's because the non-pygmy representation.
Actually, can we show the clip of search Susie Colbert and Joe Namath drunk?
And
she
this
just
is
got
spelled how it.
And I always like Susie Colbert. She's cute.
She's I know who exactly you're talking about. Very milfy. Very milfy.
Like 20 years.
Very milfy.
They just
wow,
fired
she's
her.
gone. She's gone.
Yeah,
this is surprising.
ESPN had a huge purge. They fired Jeff Van Gundy, who was really good for basketball commentary. They fired Jalen Rose, who did like sports show stuff for them. They fired just a whole bunch of people.
Dude, they haven't been good for like 20 years. Like they haven't been good. Like, all right, I'm going back to college times for me, which is about, you know, hey, I'm dating myself, about 2004. So about like 19 years ago, they were actually good. It's been about since then. ESPN was really fun at the time. Around the Horn was really fun. That was like the start of Around the Horn. If you know that show, that little show.
Yeah,
they were fun. Like, they were fun around then.
It's like sort of like Jeopardy.
Yeah, I mean, it was good for like ESPN was legitimately entertaining during those years, like 2004 to like 2007. They were fun, and then they lost all their entertainment properties.
Been drinking for several hours.
I believe everything that anyone else has watched Chad play impresses me. The same thing impresses.
I like know exactly where he's at in life right now when hearing him talk like this. I know exactly what he's talking about.
Well, I know where he's at. I know where he's at in drinking.
It's where I'm at right now. Probably. I've had
No, you're not slurring.
I've had 6 drinks right now.
Maybe we are. Maybe we're both slurring, and if 2 people are slurring, we're on like the same wavelength to not notice a difference.
This is what I like about. I don't know if you've ever heard of the YouTuber called Critical Drinker. Have you heard of Critical Drinker?
No.
He's a Scottish guy who does he basically does a similar show to what we do, but he's drunk all the time. Dude, he's like
warm chicken.
Dude, he's fucking famous now. He's famous. Like he makes
internet famous.
He makes about no. He's famous. He makes about like $50,000 a month. He's like that.
Doing
famous.
what?
YouTube. Fucking having a YouTube stream. Like what we're doing now, he does the same thing and makes 50 grand off of it. What we're doing now. Literally what we're doing now. Not even any more.
This is them.
Like no more information or no more skill. It's literally what we do now. Just that he's Scottish and drunk and does the same thing. It's just, you got to hit on the same, you hit on the right things. Here's Joe Namath.
What is it
Broadway Joe.
mean to you now when the team is
Susan
struggling?
Colburn's head was all faced out and like invisible.
You can, by the way, you can also totally tell she's drunk as shit. So I see what you're saying. You were saying she was drunk too, right?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, she's drunk. She's drunk, man. I could tell by the way she asked. Well, look at this. The way she asked this question.
Mean to you now when the team is struggling?
I want to kiss you. I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
It was awful.
Yeah, this is like I feel like I'm watching Pat like talk to me.
Is this like Chad Pennington time? Is this Chad Pennington?
Cranberry fucking mixes.
Is that Chad Pennington right there?
Yeah, Chad Pennington. He had no arm. Like his arm. He had so Chad Pennington was like extremely accurate, but
yeah, he was like 15 yards and good.
Arm injuries in college.
No 30
like,
yards.
To where he had no power, but he could fucking still like move the ball and produce an offense, but he just could not throw deep at all.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't know if you can remember the top wide receiver for the Jets at this time. Do you remember his name?
No.
Lavernius Coles.
Oh, I remember him.
Lavernius Coles.
This is full
like,
perspective
number one
here.
wide receiver.
This is full perspective. Half my family is Jets fans. The other half hates. The other half of my family is Giants fans that eternally hate the other half. So they went to be Giants fans. A lot of people like the Jets because when they came out in the 1960s, those people were young. That's a big part of New Jersey fans of Jets is because they wanted to like something new. It's almost like why people like the Devils is because they came out in the 80s and they're like, oh, it's fucking here. We might as well like them. That's a home team. But half my family is Giants fans.
They all were in love with Joe Namath when they were younger.
Yes, that was what kind of convinced everyone. But I will say
he was like, a complete heartthrob, just like doing commercials all the time and selling sex to little kids and stuff, little girls.
Yeah, so I have half my family that are Jets fans, half that are Giants fans, and I have to say those Jets fans are like the most depressed people I've ever met in my whole life. And I think it has a lot to do with the Jets. The Jets has dealt with the depression. That's like,
they're like
the number one cause is the Jets.
They always find weird ways to fuck everything up, even when they're doing good. When they're going well.
My grandpa died when the Geno Smith was the quarterback, and he like hated every second of Geno Smith being. First off, probably notorious racist, but hated every moment of Geno Smith being a quarterback, which was always hilarious to me. I was like, I totally agree with you, because especially as a Giants fan, I'm like, fucking ridiculous choice. He would have loved any of these white quarterbacks now.
I mean, I've heard people in my family say like the Giants will never have a black quarterback.
No, they honestly, I mean, I know Giants fans, I know Giants ownership. They will not have a black
as America's team,
no.
But they got Dak Prescott, who's really America's team.
No, dude, that's a whole fake scam. America's team. They just want to point. That's a brand. Like I work for branding. I do branding stuff. That is a branding bullshit statement that they want you to believe that. No one thinks they're America's team except for the branding of the Cowboys. You know what I mean by that? That's just like they want you to think that. They have
won a lot, though.
Have they? I mean,
they won
the Packers. I think the Packers have won the most. Haven't the Packers won the most Super Bowls? Am I wrong? Lombardi? I think it was the Packers.
I think the Steelers are up there. I think it's a tie between the Niners, the Cowboys, the Steelers, and maybe the Giants kind of mix in a little bit. But I think there's 3 to 4 franchises that have won 3 to 4, and then obviously the Patriots are.
Oh, we got the Patriots. Yeah. All right. That's a good point. Patriots obviously have the most. You know what?
Well,
It's
you know
funny.
what's weird about the Patriots?
I don't
They
mind
were-
the Patriots
they
one
were,
bit. I like them.
The Patriots were really successful in the 80s and 70s, but
Yes.
they never could actually finish the job and win. But they always were like up there with like rando no-name quarterbacks you've never heard of. It's just
All right,
they've always had a good system of defense and defensive coaches, and
Hold
I
on.
think that's why Belichick went. Well, I think Belichick actually he started with the Giants.
He started
and
with
then
the
went to
Giants as a
Browns,
I
and
think
then
he was a
went to
special
the
teams
Patriots
coordinator.
later on.
He was either a special teams or defensive coordinator. I think he was defense. Let me finish this clip and then I want to get to something right here. I like
we
Joe
had been
Namath.
had been gone since 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and I did the wrong thing.
I mean, it's funny. I like Joe Namath. I like Boomer Esiason. I like a lot of former Jets players.
Yeah, Boomer Esiason was really good on the Bengals.
Big fucking Rangers fan, so I love him for that.
I think Boomer Esiason has a very successful radio show, almost like some Howard Stern type of thing.
Well, he was always on sports radio in the Northeast here, so yeah.
Thanks, Joe. I'll take it as a huge
She's drunk,
compliment.
man. She's
Joe
drunk.
Namath, part of the 4-decade team.
I'm very disappointed with my behavior.
Who's not, Broadway? Who's not? I think we all are. I want to bring this up. This is Super Bowl wins by teams from 1967 to 2023. So we'll talk about the biggest wins here. Steelers and Patriots are tied for 6 wins. Did you know that, Leon? You probably did. Let me pull this up. Actually, I have to rock a piss right here. So this is a good time to break. You know, let me.
I actually watched a playoff game of the Steelers, and they had Cordell Stewart playing wide receiver, and you probably remember Cordell Stewart was like one of the better quarterbacks they've ever had.
Well, what's your favorite Steelers team that's been? I mean, actually, speak also about like who are your favorite Steelers players? Steelers players. Go to your Steelers players too.
Jerome Bettis. He was sort of like Mike Allstott on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where they were like, and a more modern version of this would be Peyton Hillis, who was on the Browns for that 1 year where he got the Madden cover. They were really obese running backs, but still very athletic and fast for their size. And the way the game was played back then is just you ran the ball like 40 times a fucking game. You never passed. So the fact that they couldn't catch didn't matter. But yeah, I always liked Mike Allstott on Tampa Bay. And they had this little guy, Warwick Dunn, who was like their scat back, who would take over pass catching downs and stuff like that. So it was a good hybrid, you know, like back then you would have teams where they were so dependent on the running game. You'd have Chris Johnson like on Tennessee Titans, I think they were back then. This was post Oilers. And then you get Lendell White, who was their goal line back. And Chris Johnson would rush for like over 1,000 yards and score maybe like 5+ TDs. And then Lendell White rushed for like 500 yards and score like 10 touchdowns because he was the red zone goal line back. And I don't think like teams don't really do that shit anymore. You know,
no, they don't.
Everything has kind of been blended into a hybrid of each other.
But I want to note on when you said obese running backs, none of them were obese. They were just like freaks.
I mean, like big.
I mean, today's standard, yeah, they were like 6'4", 250.
No,
they were
I'm
like
sure they're in shape for their body type. I meant like they're just like bigger than we're used to. I don't even know how to explain it or like what I mean, but
well, it's not a type of running back that exists today and age. I mean, look at Brandon. Probably the last
Eddie
one was
Lacy,
probably Brandon
Eddie
Jacobs
Lacy was
to be
great
like this big
for 1
gigantic
year,
running back,
and then became a fat fuck, and nobody cared about him anymore. You know,
I don't know if they were ever fat. I think they were actually just all kind of muscle. You know, like they were just big. They're almost like linebackers that ran the ball. You know, like that was a big like that. I mean, I remember that even in sports when I was growing up, like these people that would probably play linebacker on defense, but they would still run the ball just to kind of get like.
You remember when
they could get
people
3
used to have
yards
that
always?
bull collar thing in the back of their neck?
Oh yeah, of course. That was
I always
honestly
loved
that was
shit.
fucking. When I played football, that was like the cool look back in like the 90s, like having the big pads on the back, the neck pads looked way cool, especially as a linebacker. You gotta have that. I think
Yeah, I
all
feel like the old traditional linebacker,
like Carson and
no, like the Brian Urlacher type has been phased out. All those guys now
that goes back to before that.
like
That goes back to
hybrid-
like Giants shit.
Those guys are like hybrid pass rushers now, like Von Miller, or they're like split secondary hybrid safety types.
Yeah, but that
where they have to
kind
go
of
out in
look
coverage.
that look goes back to like Harry Carson, Sam Huff, Jesse Armstead. That whole look goes back. Like what Brian Urlacher is taking from goes back to like 80s Giants players and Cowboys and all that shit and Packers. That's kind of what that harkens back to. It was, I mean, Urlacher was a big fucking dude, but I think he was a safety in college too.
He was, yeah. He went to,
but dude, safeties, man.
Nevada.
I can tell you from just
it was not a big school.
Playing like Pop Warner in high school football, like safeties hit the hardest. They always have this like running speed where they can like they got this full speed ahead just to get the hit. Like Palomalu was like that example. He could fucking pop people just because he had all this speed that was like leading to his momentum of his hits. I'm sure he had that hit that really like left you with a little stinger. Felt like it. But yeah, the Super Bowl wins, we got the Steelers with 6, Patriots with 6, Niners and Cowboys with both of the 5, and I think Joe Montana might be the result of that, right? For the Niners. How many does he have? 3?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, wait, maybe Steve Young might have 2. Maybe it's I don't know. Does Steve Young have 2? Is it Steve Young has 2 and he has 3? I'm just like going off of what I think here.
I don't think Steve Young really won shit.
No, I think he won a Super Bowl, right? Am I wrong?
He put up a lot of stats, but I don't know if he really won anything.
No, he won 2. Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure he won 2. I'm gonna like just look at his Wikipedia. No. Never mind. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champ. 3 times with the Niners. And he's he's bigger than I thought. I always thought of Steve Young being like 5'9". He's 6'2", 215. He's a big guy. Not small.
Wait, how the fuck did Washington win 3? Who the fuck what the
I'm trying to think of the times where Washington, I think this could go back before our time. This could go back in the 80s. Weren't they good then? This is Redskins. This is before the Commanders. I mean, calling the Commanders is a fucking offense. I mean, honestly, like, do you really need to mess with sports teams' names? Just call them the fucking Redskins. Do you really fucking care? Are you a big Commanders fan or a Guardians fan?
Guardians, yeah. But then when you have Major League, I mean, what are you gonna like? They're gonna move
that movie
from all
done?
platforms because it's too offensive.
So they won in 82, 87, and 1991. The Redskins. So they won with Joe Theismann twice, I guess.
Before he broke his leg from Lawrence Taylor.
Oh yeah, getting that crackhead hit.
Yeah, I mean Lawrence Taylor admitted he did blow like before every game to have him like it almost like was like a stim pack, you know?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I've looked into like Lawrence Taylor
in a way,
stories.
it's kind of cheating, you know?
Yeah, but all of Lawrence Taylor stories remind me a lot of they like Lawrence Taylor, and also he was a wrestler, but Lawrence Taylor reminds me a lot of wrestlers like Jake the Snake, Junkyard Dog, guys who they would need to be driven to places where they could get crack just to do their things they needed to do. Like Dark Side of the Ring just did an episode on Junkyard Dog, and he needed to go get crack before like every show he did, and he'd be smoking crack in the locker room and didn't give a shit. Same thing with LT. After after playing a Giants game, he'd go right to East Rutherford, which is notoriously a shitty area of New Jersey, and getting crack. Not even coke. He was smoking crack. Like,
which is weird because he had so much money.
Well, no, I don't think it's about that. I think it's just you can get higher off crack. I think it's more of that. I don't think it has anything to do with coke. It's you can get higher quicker off of crack. That's really it.
Yeah.
And coke is often like cut with shit. I think crack kind of gets right to you. I don't know. But Packers.
Yeah, I've never smoked crack.
Yeah, I never smoked crack.
I've never been offered it either.
So Giants and Packers both have 4. Now I think I've seen 2 of these wins. I've seen the 2007 win with Eli, the miracle win against the Patriots, and then
with David Tyree.
Yeah, I mean, then just also they straight up beat them in 2011. That was just like a straight up win against the Patriots.
That
one was just like they dominated it.
Gets really a lot of attention, but Musa Muhammad had a great over the shoulder fucking catch.
Yes. Yep. Also, like honestly, with Eli,
that Burris was fucking.
Yes, he had the touchdowns.
Really,
he's the one who had the touchdowns. But dude,
and his entire career gets overshadowed because he was a bitch in Pittsburgh and then shot himself in the leg.
Yeah, dude, all those passes
he
though
was legit like 6'4", could run.
Yeah, like super fast. He was like a Madden type creative player. Like you've talked about creative player type guy.
In the fucking second round.
Yeah, he's like you said this, like a creative player type guy. That was Plexico. Someone who's fast and like 6'7". Fucking crazy.
I mean, I would say creative player would be Calvin Johnson.
Yes, he was like
unbelievably
the better version of Plexico.
Athletic and 2 inches to 3 inches taller.
Yes, just on the Lions though.
Him and Matthew Stafford were like such a ridiculous combination to stack in fantasy. Yeah. And I didn't really play back then. I did a little bit, but not for like real money. But if you could stack back then, you would want a pocket passer like Stafford, and then Kellen Johnson and like whatever ancillary pieces you can get. Like I don't know who the fuck they had at the time other than him.
But definitely those passes, man, like when we were talking about with the Super Bowls, those passes you have to like give to Eli. They were like almost in like the perfect place where they couldn't be in, like, and he was such an interception guy. They were almost in like the perfect place where you couldn't intercept them.
No,
he was on his like he was on a next level.
Touchdown ratio was almost 50-50, and that's
but when he was like spot on, they were like in the perfect place they could be.
I know that's like, what Bill Burr would used to say, like
the perfect spot.
This Bill Burr would always say like this retard cannot throw a pass during the regular season, but that versus us in the playoffs, he's like a fucking all-pro
magical
genius.
Genie. Yeah. No, that's why I'll always love Eli Manning for that.
What made him good was like his goofiness made him like when he take a hit, he never got hurt. Like he played like every single fucking game, and I think being goofy helped his body. Like people say, if you're gonna get in a car accident, you don't want to be tense. So like he was always like not tense and just dumb and goofy. So every time he got hit, it was like softer of an impact. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was all risk
you don't
reward.
want like two forces of speed interacting with each other.
Yes.
You want some like soft-bodied, bland white guy getting smothered by some like coked out black guy.
Yeah, he was all risk reward. He was all risk reward, and when he did reward, it would really work. And then it started to kind of fall off. Although I do think they should have I know Daniel Jones replaced him. I think they should have let him play out that last season. That was offensive to me. And then even the Geno Smith thing with what's that fucking coach? McAdoo. That was offensive as shit.
McAdoosh.
Yeah. And then look at
You
Geno
remember
Smith though. He's
when
having a good year.
Had that weird like Tim
Hold
and
on,
Eric
hold on. This is
where
fantasy
he
related.
peeled back his hair and trying to be like this New York guy.
Oh yeah.
He was
But
wearing
this
like
is fantasy
black
related.
sunglasses. What's the Tim and Eric character I'm fucking referencing? Shit.
I don't know, but do you
Warm
think
chicken
Geno Smith will have a good year next year? Or do you think that was like all one
Geno
shot?
Smith,
He feels like a
I'm
one
not-
shot.
I'm not investing in
No.
Seattle next year.
That's
I
a
don't
one
even
shot.
I don't want to deal with them at all. I don't want to getting like. I don't like drafting people off of what I think might be like a career season, and then you're chasing it. I don't like being in that position.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Oh man, I'm excited for the next season. You know what? I like how
I am too, because doing baseball right now fucking sucks. It's such a slog.
Dude, I have to say,
I wish like I didn't do any baseball and just spent this entire time period focusing on basketball and football instead.
yeah, I mean, I have to say, like even doing our fantasy streams, like I know you know your shit, but I don't know my shit. So when talking about like all these guys with baseball, I have no clue the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, you just your eyes roll back and you're just
Yeah.
waiting for you to stop talking. Yeah.
With fantasy football, I think I can actually chime in. So I could chime in on that. You know.
I know, and unfortunately, all we really did was baseball stuff. But I've got a lot of.
No, yeah. My plan, by the way, I'm gonna put this out for you. My
I
plan.
don't know how to like format it.
I'm trying to get back into betting, and I really want to bet on football. So I really want to research football to the extreme in the offseason just to kind of know what's working, because that's a big part of it.
For that, what you want to do is check off-season transactions on offensive lines and
It's also like it's summer camp shit, man. I remember that from going back.
That looked bad last year have made moves that you're probably not aware of to where that could impact the lines. And
It's a
then
combo, man.
Vegas and shit, even though they have like people that calculate projections and stuff, they don't know. Like projections are just a guideline. A lot of this shit, like
This is the time to hit on
I
it
don't
early.
think Jacksonville last year was probably projected very highly.
No,
But
they weren't, and neither were the
had a
Giants. Look
very
at the Giants.
big profit.
Look at what the Giants did. They fucking won way more than I ever thought. Which I think they're gonna It's gonna be a big downfall from last year for the Giants, but we'll see.
I think it'll depend a lot on Waller.
Yeah, I don't expect what they did last year. I think they got lucky, personally.
If Waller is good, he's going to take
gonna
a
get
lot of
injured
attention off
week 2.
all these little ancillary pieces they've signed and added and drafted to where you can get a Jones Waller stack and have outs late on like Wandale or I mean I really don't want to ever roster Shepard again.
No,
But
he's just not.
people
I mean,
are
you know what?
saying,
If you had to
Garrett
spot
Campbell or whatever the
like
fuck his
spot
name
shift
is,
them,
doing well in
I think Waller's gonna be done by week 4.
Hodgins
Waller be
still
out of
there.
season
Those
by
are
week
the
4.
outside wide receivers. Hodgins and Slayton are the main outside wide receivers.
Probably
other than-
Hodgkins more. Probably him more.
I trust them because
Slayton's done. Slayton's
they
done,
know
man.
who the fuck he is. They like
No,
he has
Daniel
been
Jones likes
with
him.
Buffalo for several seasons as like a practice squad type of special teams person, and they had enough.
And he's got a
confidence
connection with Daniel
to
Jones.
give him this amount of money, and
Daniel Jones has never had a connection with Slayton. It just hasn't existed. You know, like it hasn't.
That's because they never trusted him to throw deep. So people are saying now this year they'll allow Daniel Jones to throw deep, and he has decent metrics as far as like PFF and sites like that. He is actually good throwing deep. It's just the volume is so low; it's hard to really gauge how accurate it could be.
I don't think he's that good at throwing deep. I mean, I've seen him play football. I think he's shitty at throwing deep. I think the only reason he gets off those deep passes is because the defense doesn't expect it. Because they know this guy only throws for 5 or 15 yards. So when he does throw a deep pass, it's like unexpected.
But
And
when
they have
you're
to keep playing
mobile,
off that.
it
That's
really
a good
just-
thing.
When you're
You can make that work.
Like when your rushing floor is that high, it doesn't take a whole lot passing wise
No.
to make up for
But
it. I mean,
is Barkley going to run the ball this year?
Fields last year, I don't think he'll have that much upside rushing wise, but he was completely devoid of them trying to throw it all. And now both franchises have built around him to at least have like a foundation of receivers and talent to make up for the fact that last year they literally had nothing. Like it was people like David Sills. Like David Sills was like a prominent wide
Right.
receiver last year, and now he's not
Yeah.
even on the roster.
Well, you don't need him when you have seven slot receivers to do the same thing. Ugh. I mean, they honestly need Hopkins, but Hopkins is just too expensive. It doesn't make sense.
I don't know where he's going right now. It seems like it's between the Patriots and the Patriots just signed Devontae Parker to a big contract. It's hard to tell where he's going to go. I mean, that's why I don't draft now. It's just I don't like gambling on bullshit like that.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Also, I know you were saying how he had PED things where he could have just been good because of that. I don't know about that. But you could be right on that. So you wonder if he is even good as an older player. That's the question. I think it depends. I mean, he always worked with bad quarterbacks, so that's something there too.
You don't want to get stuck with the cliff, Like certain players just hit a wall and it's over, and you don't want to. You don't want to deal with that shit,
Yeah. I think I don't know. I think the Giants are set up to be fine right now. They can deal with Slayton and Hodgins being their
the issue
number
with the Giants
ones.
is it's not like they don't have talent. It's just other than Waller, it's hard to discern what their main wide receiver is going to be.
Even Waller, you have to we don't know if that works yet. We don't know if Jones and Waller work yet. You know what I mean? Like that might not work.
Yeah, I mean he's been hurt so many seasons, and also because of his drug background, he's an older prospect. It took him a while to get into the league because,
and even
with the Raiders,
Jones hasn't.
He was in rehab for a lot of his foundational years where he could have been part of the team, and he really broke out later than most prospects will because of that. So, and I mean, this is kind of meta, but doing drugs, it fucks your body up. You don't know how that could impact his aging process and how he might deteriorate,
Right. Yeah, it's a hard thing to say. It's we have to really see it with preseason. But
that's why I don't play
know.
Dynasty. Dynasty
Even
is
Jones.
way too much. Dynasty is
Jones-
way too much work and shit to think about for me. You have to factor in so much fucking stuff.
But even Jones, he hasn't been that great with other tight ends. You know, like you'd have to like be like, oh, he's a tight end quarterback. You know, Eli was a tight end quarterback. He was really good with what's his name?
Kevin Boss,
Kevin
Jeremy
Boss, and the other
Shockey.
Shockey. You know, like he's a tight end quarterback. We haven't seen that with
But Jeremy
Jones.
Shockey was a very highly touted prospect coming out of Miami. You know, he went like I think
he was
went,
really
like,
good for
top
his
10
couple
in the
years.
draft for a tight end, which is fucking weird.
Boss was just really consistent as like he could block, he could catch some passes. He was just a good player. I like Kevin Boss. Nothing like special, nothing super special about him, but
No, he's a good role
good
player.
like NFL player. Not like a fucking what's the guy from the Chiefs? Not like that guy.
Kelsey?
Yeah, not like a Kelsey, but you know, typical NFL player, role player. But now they have, I mean, Waller is kind of like a junior Kelsey, right? Wouldn't you say he's kind of like almost like a Kelsey?
I mean, he had one season that was comparable, but it was one season, so it's hard to really.
It's hard to tell then.
Well, that's the thing is like when you show that type of upside, it's hard to ignore, but it's also hard to rely on. It can go either way. It can be really good or really bad. So it's not really like a safe pick. It's boom or bust type of thing.
Yeah, that's how it feels. I mean, it'll be good. I don't think they're gonna do what people think. I think they will be worse than last year. And I also think Daniel Jones sucks. I'll forever hate Daniel Jones. I don't see it.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see him being a good. I mean, I like you know what? Maybe it's also he's not a type of quarterback I like. You know, like I like what's the guy from the Chargers?
Just Herbert.
Yeah, I like a Herbert player. I like a guy who's a big arm quarterback, an Eli, a Peyton, even a Brady. You know, I like that more.
No,
I don't like
know
these
you-
running
it's
quarterbacks.
like, I'd
It's not
rather
my
have
thing.
Somebody who can throw a lot and run a little bit than someone who's completely dependent on running all the time.
Yeah, and also it's like when he does throw
Because
it,
if that
it's,
dries up, or like say
Yeah.
they like stack the box and he has no goal line work anymore, then you're really left with a shitty passer on low volume.
yeah.
And that's
And then
not
also like I like running the ball, so I do like Barkley, but I do think Barkley's a little expensive.
I don't know. It's pretty cheap because he's holding out, possibly. So
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
I don't think he's going to hold out, but like the risk is enough to deflate his price or ADP or whatever.
yeah. I mean, I don't think it worked. I mean, Cook got signed, right? Cook's in Miami.
No, it's not a done deal. It's just like they're in.
Well, Cook being around only helps the Giants. That's all I'll say. If Cook's still around, then you could be like, hey, we could fucking get Cook instead of you. That's what helps the Giants. Negotiating wise. They would be fine if they had Cook instead of Barkley too. Like that's the truth. Come on.
Yeah, maybe.
No, they would. Come on. It's the same kind of guy. You could even throw it better to Cook.
It was 5 years ago.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's different.
Running back shelf life is so short. Like
Well,
Sean
even
Alexander.
Barkley. How old is Barkley now? He's what,
I'll never
36?
forget. Sean Alexander went from breaking the touchdown record
30 years old
in a season to being cut the next year from the Seahawks. Like that's how easy and bad it can go.
Yeah, it's basically when you're 30, you're done.
He was the
And
best player in the league, and he became an unrestricted free agent, and nobody wanted to fuck with him. Like,
yeah, it's when you're 30, you're done. And actually, Barkley right now is 26, so you probably sign him. I mean, Barkley's good years look really good. His bad years look really bad. He's very like I don't know if there's enough good years to be like, okay, we give him a big check. I don't know. I think he's being a little bitch because I'll never make the money he makes. I would just fucking take it. So I don't know. I would take that deal. I think it was 18 million he was offered, but he wants to make, I think it's like 26, whatever McCaffrey makes. He wants to get McCaffrey's deal. And I don't know. He might be better than Christian McCaffrey as a athlete. I don't know. I think they're kind of similar. Maybe McCaffrey might be better at catching the ball.
I mean, there's not a lot of good white running backs in the history of the league.
Well, besides from the white black, I mean, I'm colorblind, man. You know me. I'm not racist, so I'm pretty much colorblind. Except when it comes to those Middle Easterns. Jesus. Throwing a fucking Kalama's Indiana Jones pit. Have them fucking give those rituals to those Indian kids. But outside of that, not racist at all.
Yeah.
Kalama, man.
In that empty theater.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe I was in an empty theater too long. Watching this British bitch who's not attractive at all pretend to be the hottest girl in the movie. You know, it's sad too, man.
You know, it's either fucking him or 80-year-old Harrison Ford. What are you gonna pick?
I was thinking about with her. I think a lot of the success of those older movies is because you had kind of like this damsel or hot. Even what's her name, Willie and Temple of Doom. She's still more attractive. Who was fucking Spielberg at the time, but she's still more attractive than Phoebe Waller-Grace, whatever her name is. What do you think the girl in Temple of Doom was attractive? I think she was all right. She was all right.
Yeah, she was okay. It's just her personality was so obnoxious that it put me off.
Yeah, but that was kind of
it's like the
good about the character, though.
I'll call it the Brie Larson effect. You know, like she's good looking, but her personality and all the other stuff around it makes her so off-putting and unattractive to deal with. You know, despite how, you know, she's okay.
I don't know that there's a couple shots recently of Brie Larson that look really good. Her in that white tank top in the Marvels trailer, I'm all for. That's
she's
I'll
all
put
right.
it at that.
I find her jawline to be very strong, so she looks kind of weirdly masculine.
Well, I mean, hey, we got some strong draw lines here. There, look at maybe it's making up for George Lucas because look at George Lucas' jawline here. What do you think of that jawline? That's the weakest jawline in Hollywood. That's why he needs the beard. He needs more salad. More salad would get that jawline a little better. He basically looks like a little chipmunk. It's also you can tell I got this photo from years past because Harrison Ford does not look like this. This is from 2008.
Well, and also the fact that he's willingly doing it.
You know? And he's smiling. He's actually smiling.
Yeah.
Among.
What I said is like he has this look in his eyes like, "Kill me, I don't want to be here."
Yeah, and every time I think of Spielberg and George Lucas, I think of Kevin Smith talking about when he heard from Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck went over to hang out with Spielberg and George Lucas, and he said they were just like nerding out over Victoria's Secret models. Like they weren't even like looking at porn; they were just looking at like Victoria's Secret models, bathing suits. Yeah, like both of them are into softcore. Soft.
Well, you gotta think about their generation. They didn't have the internet, so
I guess so, man. That's why you make American Food.
You ever see the Ben Affleck watching, or it was like some kind of like commentary thing on Armageddon, on why it made no sense to have like oil drillers become astronauts instead of astronauts be drilling oil in the middle of space. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Like Michael Bay is a fucking idiot. You know.
Michael Bay is a complete
He
idiot.
doesn't think that astronauts can figure out how to drill into a planet. Like they just can't comprehend that technology.
We got Bruce Willis on board. Come on, the guy's like, isn't he like
Salt of the earth.
Yeah, no, but I think he's like schizophrenic right now. I think he's like out of his mind crazy. He's Jack Nicholson crazy right now.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's like what is he? He's got dementia. He's got early onset dementia. Bruce Willis.
I didn't know that.
That's why he was doing all these shitty movies. Red Letter Media, I think, apologized for it because they were like, they had a whole video about why is he doing all these shitty movies, and then it came out he's just doing these movies because he wants to get like some work in before he's just unable to do anything because he's so debilitated, which is kind of sad.
He's trying to cash out.
I think so. Trying to at least like, but you know what? I don't blame him. If they're gonna pay him, I'd do the same thing. Hey, he's got an Expendables 6 to look forward to, right? Isn't Sylvester Stallone doing something like that? One thing Sylvester Stallone did that was good was Tulsa King. He had a show out recently called Tulsa King. It was really funny. He's good in that. He plays like a Jersey, New York guy.
It looks sort of like Get Shorty.
Yeah, it's like he's a mobster sent to Oklahoma to be like the mob don there. It was all right. I saw some of it. It was pretty funny. He's a creative genius right there. He wrote Rocky in I think under a day. He wrote Rocky in under a day.
I doubt it. I'm sure
that's the lore.
Mother poor bastard no one knows about. Do it for him.
That's the lore. The lore is he's wrote it under a day. Well, no, I mean there was multiple studios didn't want to do it until I think he.
Yeah, because they didn't want him as the lead.
Yes, he made it sure that he had a movie that people liked, but he wanted to make sure he was the lead. Exactly what you're saying. He wanted to be the director, the writer, and the lead. And it was kind of like no one agreed unless I think he found the right choice. I think it might have been 20th Century Fox that did it. They would take risks that back then too with 20th Century Fox. No one wanted to do Star Wars, and then George Lucas got it sold with them. You know, he went to every single studio, and they all said no. And then
I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, I gotta head out too. But yeah, we'll talk more about fantasy. We gotta get into our football stuff. That'd be fun. All right, guys. So anyone watching the replay, check out our YouTube. We're at youtube.com/@WizardShack. We are on Twitter at Wizard_Shack. We've had some fun stuff. We talked about this was a very loose episode. I didn't really do a lot of prep today. Very short notice with work. I was working all day and I didn't have time to focus on this, but I did see Indiana Jones. I fucking hated it. We talked about that. We talked about the unknown artifacts that don't make sense in history. That's our paranormal element of the stream. We talked about the indie box office, and we talked about Star Wars being done with George Lucas, which is asinine. The guy who came up with the whole thing. But hey, like and subscribe. Check out our Twitter. If you're watching the replay at this point, God bless you. See you guys.